Hershey's Kisses 300, the season opener for the NASCAR Busch Series, about to begin at Daytona International Speedway. 43 drivers fighting the butterflies. Feeling the history of this great place as they get ready to take the green flag. Let's show you the 43 drivers in the starting field. Martin Truex Jr., one of the 9 drivers in his first ever Daytona race, starting on pole position. And while you look at the rest of the starting grid, take a chat with one of the drivers in the field who's got a lot of laps here.
And Matt Kenseth is starting 29th. Hey, Matt, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Gotcha, Benny.
So when they throw the green flag, are you going to try to go forward and win the race or go backwards and miss the wreck?
I have a little radio difficulty here, but I think I'm going to try to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just hang out in the back for a little bit and see what happens. With these rules, the Busch Series guys don't have a lot of experience with them, and might just want to hang out in the back for a few laps and see how it's going to shake out and see if it's going to be a wreck or not. So, I don't know. Whenever you try and do that, it backfires. So I'm just going to kind of play it by ear and see what happens.
Well, good luck to you, bud.
Benny, we'll need it.
Matt Kenseth set to start in 29th position today. Big field of cars came here to Daytona trying to qualify for this race. 11 failed to get into the field. You see the long list there, including Mark Martin. Not able to get into the show. And a couple drivers dropping to the back. Michael Waltrip in a backup car. Josh Richardson with an engine change. We're going to take one more commercial break before the start so we can show you as much green flag racing as possible. The start when we return to Daytona on NBC.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
NASCAR is coming to IMAX. And it's racing right off the screen in IMAX 3D. Projected on a screen up to 8 stories high with 12,000 watts of digital surround sound that puts you behind the wheel. NASCAR 3D, the IMAX experience, rated PG. Racing into IMAX theaters March 12th.
Inboard, Jim.
Hey, Wally, is that you?
Hey, welcome back to Daytona, BP. I got a pretty good seat here.
Where is that camera?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. It was pretty hairy yesterday in happy hour, so just going to try to be careful, see what develops, take it from there.
Well, he didn't hear me, but let me tell you that the camera that you're seeing is in his helmet. We're seeing exactly what he's seeing.
Not on the outside of the helmet, that's inside the helmet. You see down here at the bottom of the picture right here, that's actually the front of Wally's full-face helmet. So the camera's mounted up right next to his eyeballs, and you're seeing what he sees as he rides throughout the afternoon here at Daytona. Michael Waltrip is going to carry one of those cameras for us tomorrow during the Daytona 500. Final lap of pacing here before we get the green flag. Let's get some stories from pit road. Marty, you lead off.
I'm having so much fun, I should be paying them instead of them paying me. That's what Ron Hornaday told me right before he got into his race car. He said it's the best car he's ever had at a restrictor plate track, which is pretty good considering he's finished 4th at these last 2 races at Talladega and Daytona. And last time I checked, Alan, or Matt, it pays pretty good if you win the race, doesn't it?
Marty, David Strimming, the 32. He's already made the most out of his qualifying here at Daytona. He starts on the outside of row 2. Now it's down to business and learning a lot of drafting lessons. Yes, he was part of that drafting test session at Talladega with Truex Jr., but he knows today he's got to keep his nose clean, keep the fenders on it, and just learn. Make one move at a time, and it's a lot easier said than done. Dave?
Matt, Greg Biffle is the fastest qualifier for the Daytona 500, but that race is tomorrow. He only timed in 33rd best for today's race. Crew Chief Todd Parrott told me he was disappointed looking at all the cars that'll start in front of them. But he also said yesterday's final practice told him the 60 car can lead, and they think Greg Biffle can win. Alan?
Thanks, Dave. Greg Biffle going to come from 33rd starting spot in this race. Weather does threaten today. You see the forecast at the bottom. The radar, well, it's not the prettiest looking thing we've seen. So we'll keep the halfway lap in mind as we get closer to it. Dale, you're used to being down there strapped into one of these race cars when it's time to start. You're about to see a whole new side of this Daytona racing.
I am, and I'm excited to see it from this side. I know what these guys are feeling right now, which is, again, excitement. They're getting ready to come to the green flag. This should be really exciting. I think this has the makings of being one of the best Busch races we've ever seen here.
The 81 car on the pole, Truex Jr. Till 3 o'clock this morning, the crew worked on that car, putting it back together. It hasn't been on the racetrack since he put it back together.
It's the season opener for the NASCAR Busch Series, the Hershey's Kisses 300, and it's underway.
Green flag, green flag.
The king of starts, Ron Hornaday in the 2-car, did not get a very good start. Maybe he's laying back to try to get a run on the 81.
Well, you know, it's always difficult being that guy on the outside of the pole because you can't beat the guy on the pole to the line, so you're never really up to speed quite as good, but he'll get a good push here going down the backstretch.
It's Martin Truex Jr. driving the Chance 2-car for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Teresa Earnhardt, the 81. His first Daytona race. He's on pole. Then he told you about repairs to the car. He leads as they come around to complete lap 1. Kevin Harvick pushing up to the inside of his Richard Childress teammate Ron Hornaday. Harvick in the silver and orange car to the inside, and Hornaday in the blue number 2 on the outside. Little 3 wide farther back.
Jason left for the 00 going to the high side. The red and white car trying to go by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Puts Jr. in the middle. Not a spot you want to be, is it, Dale?
Not at all. In particular, not at this point of the race. But there's a lot of times that middle will open up, and you see Dale Jr. taking advantage of that right now, and Jason Leffler headed backwards.
So he has no one to go with. All the cars moved down to go with Jr. and left the 00 out to dry.
And speaking of left out to dry, new leader, Kevin Harvick just swept around Martin Truex Jr. Harvick is out in front.
Oh, man.
Here comes Hornaday on his teammate. Well, maybe he'll go back in line and work with him instead of around him.
Here comes Jr. and the 8 car trying to go on the outside with David Strimming, the 32. Marty, what do you have for us?
Kevin Mannion came on the radio and Martin Truex sat in the race car and said, listen, you've got to remember one thing, trying to calm his young driver down. This car should be just as good as it was yesterday. Trust in it, believe in it, and remember how good it was before it got wrecked.
That's Dale Jr.'s car. We're on board now.
I had a similar situation in the year 2000 here in the very last practice session. We got a little bit close. Matter of fact, it was right at the end of it, and my car got turned sideways down in 1 and 2 and messed up the front air dam. Our guys worked all night, only got a couple of hours sleep, and we were on the pole, and we came back and pretty much dominated that race. So Martin, I know, is just filling the car out right now, and I'm sure that he'll have an excellent day.
See that blue car on the outside lane? Looks a lot like Jimmy Johnson's car in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. That is a Hendrick Motorsports car. It's Kyle Busch, Kurt's younger brother, in the 5. This is his Daytona NASCAR Busch Series debut.
He's 18 years old, Dale.
That's incredible. The young man has a lot of talent. Won the ARCA race here just a week ago, and I was very impressed in watching him that day. He's got a little more competition here today, but he's doing a great job.
He's not afraid of anything.
Not afraid, not at all. He's got a lot of talent to go with that, too.
Matt, how about the 5 car?
Lance McGrew could not compliment the driver of the 5, Kyle Busch, enough for how he has acclimated himself to the draft. In fact, after practice yesterday, Kevin Harvick jumped out of his car and ran over to the 5. His team members were a little worried, and then they found out why. Kevin wanted to compliment him on his moves. He said, you made a move, then you made a pass. You made a move, then you made a pass. You didn't do a lot of herky-jerky stuff. You looked almost like a veteran out there.
And Kyle Busch said, does that mean that you'll help me tomorrow if I need it? He said, I will, because you look that impressive.
Hey, look who's up to 11th. Wally.
All right.
I guess he decided against the float to the back plan.
Yes, he did.
I know a lot of times when we feel like that these races are going to be a little suspect, you know, we take it easy, don't make some moves, but you can't go forward because everybody's a little apprehensive to start with. We'll probably see a little more dicing as we go on, but right now we're just seeing really the outside line going pretty good, and that looks like where Wally is.
People doing a good job just trying to let the race settle in before they get too anxious.
That's Johnny Sauter, the car directly in front of Wally. Look at that head move around it.
Yeah, you don't realize it. This gives you a great idea and great shot of how rough this racetrack is as you go through the corners and how much you have to work the steering wheel. You're not wanting to do that, but the setups that you have and the bumps that you have here dictate that.
Oh.
Starting to sort it out single file up at the head of the field.
Wally. Working draft.
Kevin Harvick leading the line. Wally back in the 11th spot. And our pole sitter, Martin Truex Jr., has fallen back now to 12th. Marty?
And it's not because of the car, the aerodynamics of the car. It's because the car's not handling very well. Very loose on the bottom right now for the 81 car. Dave?
Well, Kenny Wallace has been complaining to his guys on the radio that there's a miss in the motor. He said it cuts out at 7,200 RPM just as I'm getting to the end of the straightaways. They flip the ignition box, which is an electrical system that helps, that obviously runs the thing. He said it got better for a second and then radioed back in. No, it's still missing.
You had a similar problem in the 125 on Thursday, didn't you, Dale?
Yeah, we sure did. Thankfully, we've got it fixed now, but we had a problem where the engine, mine wanted to cut off coming off the corner, and so it's not a fun deal. We change boxes. Very seldom does that work. Sometimes it is the box, but hopefully Kenny can get that problem fixed here today.
Robbie Gordon in 55 puts Wally in the middle. Wally moves up, has an outside lane to go to.
I was just about to comment that I know a lot of these guys were breathing easier because they were gotten strung out a little bit and were kind of single file, and here they are 3 wide again.
Right, Bliss in 20. Going by the 27 of Johnny Sauter, and Kyle Busch still moved up in the high lane, but he's been up there most of the race.
On board Mike Bliss.
Neat camera shot from Bliss's car. And we see both cars on the outside of him. He's on the bottom, 3 wide.
That's where it gets tight. Right as they come into the little dog leg there, that sweep around by the start-finish line.
And all this is going on about 185 miles per hour. Dave, what is Bliss saying?
Well, I know what they're saying last night. They're saying they had to fix that left rear quarter of the car. That was a car that got damaged in an incident during practice on Friday afternoon. So they worked last night. They got some help from their Winston Cup team of Tony Stewart to refabricate that left rear. The best news was the left rear quarter in an aerodynamic race like this is the least important. They got it the best they could.
Now Strimming, that 32 car, has moved to the outside, and now he's finally got a car behind him. Is that Wally behind him?
How about David Stremme, Marty?
He wants to work that high line. Alan says his car feels a little bit more comfortable up there. The one thing he definitely wants to do is stay up front. Their strategy, if you're in the front, you will avoid the wreck, not necessarily the back.
That's true. I agree with that theory. Kevin Harvick continuing to lead. We have completed now 10 laps of the 120 that will make up the scheduled distance here this afternoon in the Hershey's Kisses 300. Harvick, Hornaday, Robbie Gordon, Earnhardt Jr. and Johnny Sauter are the top 5 from Daytona. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
What do you do when he wants meat lovers, she wants a Supreme, and you want your favorite? Well, Pizza Hut's got the answer. The incredible new...
Back in Daytona, the big crash has just happened off turn 2. At least 8 or 9 cars involved. Heavy contact. You see the 33 of Paul Menard, one of the cars involved, and the car with the heavy front end that's smoking straight in front of us is Wally.
We see the 38 car of Casey Kane back there. Wally is putting the window net down, taking his gloves off.
He was 12th last time by the start-finish line, so it happened right up toward the front of the field. It's Casey Kane in the 38 behind Wally. Mike Bliss is also involved in the 20.
Casey's getting out of his car. Looks to be
okay.
Okay, none the worse for the wear.
Caution out at the 12th lap here at Daytona. You see the cars down on the inside of the racetrack.
Mike Bliss was also involved in the 20 car.
Right. Just mentioned that a second ago, BP. He's driving on the apron inside of turn 3, trying to limp back around. There's Joe Nemechek in the 87 coming back around. Now pay attention to Mike Bliss's car here, the red 20 machine.
That one. Well, he gets a great run on the bottom of the racetrack, but it gets loose off the corner and goes up and catches, is that Strimme and Wally?
Yeah. Johnny Benson in the 1, Nemechek in the 87.
One more look.
Looked like he just had a big run to the inside of Mike Wallace and then decided that hole was closing up.
Yeah, a lot of times you get that feel that you've got a push there and you've really got to run and you want to take advantage of it, and then the next thing your car starts to push a little bit off that corner and you jerk the wheel and then the back end goes out from under you, and then you're in a bad position, as we can see right here.
And Leffler almost got him in the 0-0, but Bliss goes back across the racetrack, runs right in the side of Wally. Now he has no steering, and watch him just go straight down and hit the inside of the wall. He's trying to get it to go the right, but he can't steer the car. He sees the wall coming, and about this time is when you close your eyes, because you're not going to like that.
Ouch. It almost looked like the throttle might have been hung on that. You could see the front tires weren't turning there, but he had the brakes on. But wow, that's a hard lick. This happened. There were about 25 cars in this pack, so it happened kind of right in the middle of them.
Dave, what about the 20 car?
Mike radioed in right after that he was, you saw where he was in the middle of the track. He said, I got in the middle. He said the back end just came around. I don't know what happened, if the air got taken off of it or whatever, but he realized the back end of the car just came right out from under him.
So caution out for this crash on the backstretch. At least 6-7 cars involved.
Was that Jason Keller in the 22 car? Or was that the 87 of Nemechek went down toward the inside? Couldn't tell.
87, yeah. On board the 38 of Casey Kane.
He gets the side of Nemechek and goes for a ride.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Casey and Joe.
And from on board Wally's car.
Open. One car down low. Middle's open. Stay there. Oh, hey, just wipe this out, guys. Wally, you okay?
The engine wasn't, the throttle wasn't hung. Just couldn't stop it.
Yeah, it just can't get stopped.
Because you'd knocked the brakes off when he made contact with that car.
You know, you like to run that high line a lot of times to keep the car wound up and it can go.
Sorry, guys, no
but the thing I always hate about being in the high line, if something does happen, you have nowhere to go. You're there. And just like we saw with Casey Kane and Joe Nemechek, they were both probably okay just trying to avoid. Joe just moved down to try to avoid the accident, and Casey happened to be there trying to go to the bottom too, and took both of those out.
It's on board Mike Bliss's car. Johnny Benson.
Got the back here, front too hard.
Now you know how those bowling pins feel in the bowling alley. They start banging off each other.
Heavily damaged. So, involved in the crash, 8 drivers. You see the list there. A few of them drove back around to pit road. Johnny Benson, Joe Nemechek, C.W. Smith all drove back around to pit road with some pretty heavy damage to all of those cars. So the crashes happened. As feared, Mike Bliss getting loose in traffic. By the time it's done, 8 cars in a smoking heap on Daytona's back straightaway. Back at Daytona, they've just opened the pit road, and here come all of the lead cars for service. Dave Burns, lead us
Alan, Jason Leffler was running in 8th position. His car was loose. They stick a wrench in the rear window there to make a track bar adjustment. They will also change all 4 tires for Jason. Marty?
Kevin Harvick said, good thing this car, we got this caution to fix this car. The car way too loose. They go underneath the rear of the car, unhook the rear sway bar, a major adjustment, and a pound out of the right rear tire, Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. hit pit road as a leader. A gas and go. They're going to save tires for later in the race. Even though he ran through some debris, they feel like those tires should be okay. He says the car is very good. His big concern, where was Martin Truex in that crash? Because he knew that he was back there. They told him he is fine.
Johnny Sauter ran through his pit box on the pit lane.
Yeah, I happened to be watching that, and Johnny came in running 3rd, and just got in a little bit hot. That first pit stop's always hard to judge, and slid right through. Actually hit his tire carrier, but it looks like they were able to complete the stop then.
Dave, go ahead.
Alan, as we ride on board with Greg Biffle, his car also very, very loose, and they made a track bar and a wedge adjustment to try to fix that for Greg. Remember, guys, we've been hearing all week about tight race cars. That's the second one that I've heard about. That's been actually the 3rd one that's been loose.
All right, so Greg Biffle rejoining the race. We'll check his running order here after the shuffle of pit stops. Watch Johnny Sauter's car. Right. Oh, no, that's a different thing. That's Ashton Lewis getting tangled up with Matt Kenseth.
And going around backwards. Here's a 17-year on board with Matt Kenseth as he runs in the back of Ashton Lewis and probably does some damage to his grill, the front of his car.
It's tough to pick out where you're supposed to be and easy to drive by it.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, you're concentrating so much on your board. Yeah, a lot of times I try every race to make sure that I know who's pitting around me, and my spotter Bob Jeffrey does a good job of letting me know who's going to be peeling off in front or if they're going on down. And unfortunately there, Matt was probably just looking ahead and didn't realize that Ashton was going to his pit that quickly.
So the new leader of the Hershey's Kisses 300 is Michael Waltrip. We'll reset the field for you as the cleanup continues at Daytona. NBC's coverage of the Hershey's Kisses 300 is brought to you by Nextel, coast-to-coast walkie-talkies in under a second. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. By the new 4-for-all pizza. Everyone gets the toppings they want, and it's only at Pizza Hut. And by the new Mr. Clean Auto Dry Car Wash. Never dry your car again. Pretty wild sequence here in Daytona. 8-car accident off turn 2, and then some action on pit road. Marty?
Well, Pat Schaefer is the front tire carrier for the 27 team of Johnny Sauter. You see him being loaded onto the little temporary ambulance there. They're going to take him to the infield care center. They're probably going to have some stitches on that cut you see on his face. He said he's not sure what happened, but he does know one thing for sure. If they'll let him, he said, I'm making the next stop. Dave?
Mike Bliss's crew working hard on this car to try to get it back out there. Mike, second time this weekend involved in something. This one looked like it started with your car. What happened?
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're in a wreck here and it's not your fault, and I'll take the blame for this. I just coming off it too, it broke loose, and it hadn't been loose. It was handling pretty well right then, and I kind of moved up the racetrack right there to try to get up on the high side, and it just unloaded. The rear tire just unloaded real quick, and I couldn't save it. And I hated to take out all the cars and stuff, but I don't know. I hate it for these guys, and I hate it for everyone else I took out.
Mike, it was just starting to sprinkle over in pit lane. Was there any sign of moisture on the track at all?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I didn't see anything. I think it was just a cause of where, I don't know. I just got loose and took everybody out.
All right, Mike, very disappointed, obviously, with what's happened here, guys. He's out. The Hershey's Kisses 300. Alan?
All right, Dave, a lot of work going on back in the garage among a lot of cars. Joe Nemechek's, Johnny Benson's, Bliss's, Wally's, Casey Kane's, and Paul Menard's have all been towed off the racetrack into the garage area. Check out what happened on pit road. We talked about Johnny Sauter running through his pit box, and we just talked with the crew member there a second ago. Watch the spot shadow there. That's Sauter's car.
We see the coming to pit road and just keeps on going. And look at that guy do the header on pit road. The fellow that Marty just showed us. Man.
I can tell you from a driver's standpoint, that's a terrible, terrible feeling. Unfortunately, had that last year at Indianapolis. That you know, you see young men like that talking about he's ready to come back if they'll let him do that. That's the type of people we have in this sport. But you know, your first stop here, you've been out here running 185, 190 miles an hour. You're not using any brake on the racetrack. You know, sometimes you forget to warm them up coming in, and then other times you just don't realize that you're going faster than what it seems on that pit road, and so you go to lock the brakes up or to slide into your pits, and it's just hard to judge that.
And then we see the rain hitting the camera. And, you know, I got to give Mike Bliss credit for talking to us, because, you know, when something happens to your car, you feel badly. But when you take other cars out with you, it just doesn't get much worse than that.
No, it really doesn't. And, you know, we've all been in that position. And, you know, all he was doing was just trying. He saw a hole there. He said his car was working well up high. He wanted to go there. And he just made a move. And, you know, unfortunately, those things are going to happen sometimes. You don't want them to. You're just trying, you know, and you can't blame a guy for trying. And then you have to give him credit for getting out and taking the blame there. Didn't put it on anything else. And but he's a really good race driver, and he'll have another chance here at Daytona.
Well, they finished cleaning up the accident scene in the backstretch, but you can see the rain peppering the onboard camera lenses. So right now we're in a holding pattern under this caution here at Daytona, though the reports are already coming in that the weather's lightening up around the backside of the track. Dave?
Alan, Joe Nemechek is working on his car with his crew. First of all, are you okay, and what'd you see?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm pretty mad right now, but I'm still smiling. Just the other drivers and crews out here need to figure out how to work on their cars. I mean, people are out there sliding sideways. They're out of control, and maybe it's a rule package, but I thought the rule package was pretty good. The 20 car just got loose up in front of me, and man, he took out half the field. Just there's nowhere to go. I was right behind Wally. I was trying to push Wally back to the front, and just one of those things. It's not good. I mean, people got to learn.
Joe, so Joe, who do you share your anger with? The other teams? Do you go to NASCAR? Where does this go from here?
I don't know. I'll race and cane everywhere I can. I already went and saw Mike Bliss and said, fix your car, you know, and he's like, well, it was driving good before it spun out. But yeah, and we went through some of this stuff with this package before in the Winston Cup cars, but the Busch drivers, that's why it's the Busch series. It's not the Winston Cup series, and we were fortunate. I mean, we had some big wrecks over in Winston Cup too, but it was mainly at the end of the races. But just at the beginning of a race, people got to use their heads. It's uncalled for.
All right, guys, the voice of experience, Alan.
He's just angry.
Frustrated.
And we gave him a way to vent, so we've helped Joe Nemechek out immensely, you know?
We have helped Joe. And obviously, being a former winner here, you know, he was looking forward to having that opportunity again.
Dave said, who do you go to next? Well, he just went to several million people. Stated his case. 8-car pileup off of turn number 2, and now rain has us under caution at Daytona International Speedway. It's the Hershey's Kisses 300 with 20 laps of 120 incomplete. Watch this. This is going to hurt tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's the Daytona 500, the Great American Race, and it kicks off with a very special pre-race ceremony, the Nextel Tribute to America. Tune in as Grammy Award winners Lee Greenwood and Leanne Rives join a cast of thousands to celebrate America and the Great American Race. They'll be joined by the President of the United States. Mr. Busch will be in attendance as well. It's the Nextel Tribute to America tomorrow during coverage of the Daytona 500 here on NBC. Not the first time a president's attended the race. July 4th, 1984.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
On board Air Force One, President Ronald Reagan gives the command to start engines while en route here to Daytona Beach. A fantastic race ensued in which Richard Petty barely edged Cale Yarborough for the win. It was his 200th NASCAR victory. The King sharing later at a victory celebration with the President and Mr. Bill France Jr.
Then I was there.
You sure were?
I was there. Were you there from the President?
I was there. I was actually in there. That was my second race driving a Cup car at that time. But just I was on my honeymoon with Kelly in Hilton Head, and got a call from Jimmy Means to drive his car here. So I was actually just in front of Cale and Richard when they got the checkered flag. I wasn't running very good, obviously, but it was pretty cool to see that and be a part of that day.
Dale Jarrett joining BP and I for the call today. Wally's racing adventure didn't end up so well today, Marty.
It was very short-lived, and on a 2.5-mile racetrack, you found a place where you had no more room, Wally.
No, the car was very, very good, and I had a lot of fun up until that point. But that was probably the hardest hit I've ever taken. And I'll tell you what, there was nowhere to go. The 20 got in front of me, but when I hit that wall, the last thing I was thinking was Hans. And I mean, anybody that's not wearing a Hans device should come and see me, because I hit that wall a ton, and that thing did its job.
Like a pretty good lick. While all this is going on, there's pit strategy out on the racetrack. Michael Waltrip has stayed out, like we've talked about. They're waiting for as long as they can, hopefully with one to go. Then they'll come down pit road, hoping to make it on one more stop. Dave?
Marty, Casey Kane started this race 9th, was in the pack when this happened. What'd you see, and what happened?
To me, it looked like the 20 got loose. He's a couple of cars in front of me, so it was, I don't know if he got help or not, but unfortunate for our Dodge, our Great Clips Dodge car. We, it's a short race. We don't want to go out that soon, but, it was no surprise when I saw it, because his car looked about the same yesterday, so I don't know, they must not have got a handle on it, but it's too bad. We'll get ready for Rockingham.
All right, his guys are working on his car as well back here in the garage, but looks like they've got a lot of work to do if they're ever going to see Daytona again today, guys.
Another car in some trouble here on the speedway. Rick Markle's car has stopped just past the start-finish line and can't get it going again. So they've had to bring out a wrecker and hook up to that machine. So the Michigan driver's going to have to go back to the garage and figure out what happened.
We saw the same thing yesterday with Paul Wolf's car, and the brakes locked up, and they had to hook the car up like this to get it back to the garage area.
So under caution Little rain shower stopping. Hopefully the track drying quickly, and we'll get back to full tilt action here at Daytona International Speedway. NBC's coverage of the Hershey's Kisses 300 is brought to you by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR, available at Sears. Craftsman makes anything possible. By New Levitra, new choice here now. Ask your doctor today. And by Little Hershey's Kisses, big chocolate taste. Rain has stopped. They're getting ready to go back racing in about another lap and 3/4. Remind you that you can get more in-car camera action with NASCAR in-car on in-demand, in-car camera channels with virtual dashboards, real-time in-car data, and live team audio. If you got digital cable, call 1-888-SPORTS-IN and order the season package.
So you could be riding along, looking at that shot, and listening to the driver communicate with the crew about what's going on. They could listen to you tomorrow, maybe, DJ.
They can, yes. Just like me. That's what I do mostly is listen. I talk a little bit occasionally. They ask my opinion, but do a lot of listening.
More drivers down in the garage, Dave.
Yeah, I think we need to count all the way up to 8 or something at this point. Paul, your 33 was involved. What did you see or didn't you see?
Just a lot of 3-wide racing, side by side, and how they're getting kind of aggressive for being so early in the race. And I guess I was on the bottom, Bliss was in the middle, and I guess he lost or something, and just blocked the track, and we just got stuck in the middle of something we didn't do, I guess.
No hole for you to go through?
No, there wasn't. I tried shooting the gap. There was 2 cars blocking the track, and I just tapped. I think it was Bliss we just hit just a little bit. Then it started sliding, and we nailed Nemechek pretty good.
Okay, both drivers okay, though. That's a good news, Marty.
Dave, it's just amazing how quickly this track bottles up. Anywhere for you to go, Johnny, and what was your view out of the windshield?
I saw the 20 get sideways up there. I'm not sure exactly what caused that, but it was getting a little loose, and I thought, I saw a little smoke, and I thought, this is going to be big. So, you know, guys just started moving around, really nowhere to go. I mean, most of the guys trying to find holes that are there or not there, and then right when it happened, there's just nowhere to go. I mean, you're going so fast, and like I say, the 20 he spun, and as he was just finishing there, I was down at the bottom. I thought, well, I'll have an okay spot, and then he come down in front, and I just caught his quarter panel. So yellow transportation Dodge was not doing too bad. I mean, we were just kind of hanging out, got in the wrong line a couple times, and come up through the center there a little bit, and kind of wish I was either further back or further forward, but just nowhere to go.
Former series champ out of it early today.
Getting set to go back racing here. That is the 87 car, not the 8 car.
I can't believe that Nemechek is back on the racetrack. It looked like his car was torn up way too badly to be back on the track, but there he is. Looks like he's up to speed.
Well, they were going to come to the green flag this time. They've just added another lap of caution. I'll give you a minute just to update you on the strategy. Michael Waltrip peeled off from the lead and pitted for fuel when they gave him the 2-to-go signal. So you saw Dale Jr. first behind the pace car. He's now the leader. There are others who have stopped as well. So let's take a break here. We'll reset the running order for you and get back to the restart. From Daytona, you're watching NASCAR on NBC. Back at Daytona International Speedway, the restart has been waved off. Just a couple of more drops of rain over there in turn 2.
We're so close. I mean, we're only about 5 or 6 miles from the Atlantic Ocean, but I guarantee you over on the beach, it's not raining now.
That's Florida. Hey, log on to NBCSports.com. BP's got a preview of tomorrow's Daytona 500 he's written there for you. And got a lot of great rookie drivers coming into the series this year. I've kind of written a little profile on each driver, let you learn something about them if you're not familiar with them. It's NBCSports.com.
And in that preview, I said that the Yates cars are going to be better this year than last.
Well, we appreciate that, and we certainly plan on being better. And Daytona has got us off to a good start. Elliott's been really fast since he got here. Won his qualifying race on Thursday, did a fantastic job. It was nice to see him in victory lane. That's pretty special, and he's got a good chance of winning this race, the Daytona 500 tomorrow, as well as I think I do. So should be a good year for us. We had a great test at Las Vegas, so we're pretty excited about the season getting started.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader as we continue under the caution flag, hoping these few pesky raindrops will leave us shortly. Let's check in his pit, Matty.
the Bud guys from the Nextel Cup Series running the operation for Dale Jr. wearing Oreo colors. Tony Jr., you pitted gas only. What is your scenario now for when do you want to make your next, and will that be your final stop?
Yeah, we can make it on one stop from here. You know, Busch Series got a little bit different rules in Cup where you can only have 3 sets of tires, and don't want to burn them up too early. And it's just going to be a situation. We'll pit like lap 74, 73, something like that for one more stop. But the car's good and didn't want to give up too much track position. And, you know, we're just here to have a good time this weekend.
Now, your driver's not a meteorologist, but he is giving you reports about the weather and the condition of the racetrack. What's he saying?
Yeah, he said started spring. It was pretty good. It was ready to go there a while ago, and started sprinkling a little bit, so it got a little wetter down in 3 and 4. But it sounded like, you know, like right now the rain stopped again. So hopefully we can get this thing underway and see what we got.
Around lap 72 to 74, Marty.
Well, Matty, about 3 laps before this caution came out, Kevin Harvick was leading. Now you're all the way back in 19th. Rick Byers, the new crew chief for Kevin Harvick. What's going on with the car?
It's not that big of a deal. I mean, we know Kevin can get back to the front. We had to make some big changes. The car was really loose, he said. So we took extra time and unhooked the rear sway bar. So it's not your normal adjustment you make on a pit stop, but it's something he really needed to do.
That's a big adjustment, but the decision to run the rear sway bar in the first place was why?
To help the car free up. Usually we get a little bit tighter here, but with this new package we've got with the wickers and the roof deflector, it's a little bit different. So we're trying to get used to it right now.
That's one of the things you can do when a car, when it's too tight, you can run a rear sway bar. That will loosen it up and make it drive a little bit better. Isn't that right, BP?
That's exactly right. What he's talking about is this little strip right there on the roof of the car. That's an air deflector. And believe it or not, that puts some downforce on the front of the car here and makes the car a little bit looser. The Nextel Cup cars are complaining about being too tight. These cars too loose. And they're basically have the same tires. The only problem is that air deflector on the roof.
Yeah, and the rear sway bar that they're talking about, the reason we can't run them in the Nextel Cup Series, but in the Busch Series you still can. And what it does, it basically stiffens the rear springs whenever the bar gets loaded. So that allows you to keep softer springs in it, which will allow the car to compress in the rear, go faster down the straightaway. When you get to the corner where you can have a push situation, it stiffens those rear springs up, especially the right rear, and makes the car turn better. That's pretty big adjustment to make, but obviously they've done it before and feel comfortable with that. So Kevin, I think you'll see him come to the front once we get back to racing.
So Kevin back in 19th spot right now. Dale Jarrett joining Benny and I today for our call of the Hershey's Kisses 300. He'll be trying to win a 4th Daytona 500 tomorrow. He's up here talking with his hands while he's talking about all these adjustments. What you guys have been fighting with your Daytona 500 car is a car that won't turn in the corner. You call it tight. It wants to keep going straight when you're trying to get it to turn left.
Yeah, well, I had that Tuesday and Wednesday with my car in practice. When I got to Thursday, they had fixed that problem, and I was extremely loose in the 125. So we've been fighting that problem. We got it fixed much more raceable yesterday. This morning, I was back on the loose side a little bit, but we had taken some sway bar out of it and made a couple of other adjustments. So we just wanted to try a few things. But, yeah, most of the cars on our side are tight. We have more spoiler than what we've had here before, so that's getting more downforce on the rear of the car, and there's only so much you can do with the front to keep it down without hurting these tires. So really getting the car balanced is what this is all about, to where you can run fast, but yet keep the tires on it for a long period of time.
And talking about Kevin Harvick's car and what it was doing, we open up our virtual garage and show you what a loose race car looks like.
When the driver goes down in the corner and turns the steering wheel, see, green is good. You want all 4 tires being green. But when you turn the steering wheel and the rear tires get too much temperature, too much heat in them, the back end of the car keeps coming out, trying to spin out. That's the expression we use for loose, or the expression we use for that is loose. Now, the opposite is tight, pushing, whatever.
Yeah, where you're really turning the wheel and the car's not going where you want it then. So Darrell Waltrip, I think, explained this a long time ago. If the car is pushing, you hit the wall with the front end. If it's loose, you hit it with the back end. So just give you an idea. But here, driving a loose race car is so much more difficult because the racetrack has a lot of dips in it. We won't call them bumps because it's not like you chatter across them, but it's got dips in it just from years of racing on it. And when you hit those, if you have any looseness at all, the front end goes down, gets a little bit of a grip there, and then that's when you lose the back end, and then that's when you start correcting. And if you're in the middle, such as Mike Bliss was, then you're really in trouble.
because when you correct, you got to chase the car back up the hill beside a car.
Yeah, you need all the racetrack you can use at that time, and he didn't have that much to use up.
Two men who know from which they speak, the 1975 Daytona 500 winner and the 93, 2000, and 96 500 winners. I almost skipped one there. Well, Mike Bliss knows what lose means, and unfortunately, so don't 7 other drivers. Big pileup off turn 2 in Daytona has us under caution, and the rain has kept us there ever since. I have 3 words to describe what's happening now here at Daytona.
Is that what they would be?
Not too good. The rain is forcing NASCAR to bring the cars down the pit lane and stop the Hershey's Kisses 300. It's not raining heavily, but it's raining enough that they can't race in it at 185 miles an hour.
And you see the crews put in tarps on their pit box to try to have that as dry as possible for those cars to come in so they don't slide through their pit, because that is against NASCAR rules. You have to be inside that box. It's a penalty if you pit outside of it. So that's why they're trying to keep those pit boxes as dry as possible.
So at 1:26 Eastern time, the red flag waves here at Daytona. We've never gone back racing after a caution that came out at lap number 13. An 8-car pileup off turn number 2. I show you this again from Wally's perspective because it's time for me to talk about fear factor. That'd be a big fear factor right there.
No doubt about that.
Looking at that wall coming up quickly. Ouch.
Wally and Casey Keene both in the 38 hitting the wall about the same time. But Wally a little bit harder.
And now this is the anger factor here.
Yeah, it takes off the steering wheel and just kind of throws it. You have a choice to lay it up there, or if you're really angry, you throw it. So he chose throwing.
So it leads me to tell you about Fear Factor, the Couples Championship, Monday night at 8/7 Central on NBC. You won't believe what some people will do to win $1 million. I know what some race drivers will do to win $1 million. The Fear Factor's Couples Championship, Monday night, 8/7 Central here on NBC. That's about what it pays to win the 500, right? A little over $1 million.
A little over $1 million, yeah, which is just incredible. Amazing that we have that opportunity, but you'll see some guys taking some real chances tomorrow afternoon to try to win that $1 million.
But you know what? I mean, you've won. You have 3 of those trophies on the mantle. But I talked to Brian Vickers, who's 20 years old this morning, and he said, if somebody helps, we were talking about the veterans will not help the rookies very much. And he said, if somebody will help me tomorrow, I said, it's worth some money to them, right? He said, they can have my share. I just want the trophy.
I agree with him. I just want another trophy. I could really, if someone hadn't told me how much it pays for the race tomorrow, I probably wouldn't know, because I don't look at the entry blanket and not concerned with that. It's about having those Daytona 500 trophies on your mantle, as you well know. There's nothing like it. We can talk about, you know, all of these other races, but there's nothing like winning the Daytona 500.
But on Monday, you pick up the entry blank to see how much it paid if you win.
Well, it's kind of nice, yeah. You pick up the paper, and they got those big numbers out there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Dale Jarrett's name is on the Harley Earl Trophy for the winner of the 500 on 3 occasions. This was 1993.
Yes.
Led by Dale Earnhardt coming to the white flag.
Yeah, that was pretty special there, past Dale. Then I had to hold him off here for about 23 laps, and he tried everything in the world, but I had a really fast Ford that day. 1996, and then in 2000. I was able to get by Johnny Benson on a restart. Johnny had a fast car, but we had a restart with about 3 laps to go, and I was able to pass him coming out of turn 2.
And Dale Jarrett going for a 4th Daytona 500 victory tomorrow afternoon. NBC coverage starting at noon Eastern time. Discover Card Countdown to Green. We have a fantastic pre-race show lined up for you, and that's all just before we get the green flag and the beginning of the action. Well, the drivers have been allowed to park their cars and cover them up, and Matt's been allowed to go out and talk with Dale Jr.
We'll peek inside Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s race car. First off, give me a grade on your race car at this juncture early on.
It's a lot better than it was yesterday. We really didn't change nothing, and
TNT Sports welcomes you live to Daytona International Speedway for the resumption of the Hershey's Kisses 300. It's Speed Week's overtime. Rain stopped the race Saturday. Now it's here to be an encore to the Daytona 500 instead of a warm-up act. The star of yesterday's race will play a leading role today. Matt Yoakum is with him now.
After the biggest win and probably the biggest celebration of his racing career, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is back to business, leading the Busch Series race. You're trying to sweep the weekend, Junior. Tony Jr. says you've got one more trip in you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, actually. It's kind of like a bonus race here. Be able to suit up after the Daytona 500 and get some more laps in while everybody else is going home. So this is going to be a pretty neat deal. Got a great car. Hopefully we'll wrap this thing up with a sweep, huh?
Real quick, you're trying to get closer to your dad's record of 5 straight in this event.
Yeah. I hope I ain't jinxed myself by letting everybody know I was shooting for that, because I try not to tell people my goals because it seems not to do you any good. But it'd be nice to win 5 in a row, if not 6 in a row.
He's got a good view right from the front.
37 drivers are ready to resume competition at Daytona at lap 31 of 120. First, they need the command to begin. A little microphone malfunction on a Monday, but they did say, gentlemen, start your engines. And here we go for more NASCAR racing from Daytona International Speedway. Beautiful day here on Florida's East Coast. The sun is out, a little bit chillier than it was for yesterday's Daytona 500, but still a very nice afternoon, especially compared to what it's like in most of the eastern United States. And you see a good crowd has turned out on hand to see today's Hershey's Kisses 300. Let's check down on pit road before we get things back going again. Here's Marty Snyder.
Alan, one of the favorites to win the Daytona 500 was Michael Waltrip, but of course he had the vicious crash yesterday. It's probably been replayed more than anything in the Daytona 500. Here it is again for you. Michael going over on his roof several times, tumbling 5 times, and eventually the car ending up upside down. You would think after all that the 6'5" Waltrip would be at least a little sore this morning, but Mikey was not so. In fact, this morning he jogged over to his souvenir trailer, signed autographs for an hour and a half, and then jogged back. Michael Waltrip at 6'5", feeling fine this morning, even after that wild ride yesterday in the Daytona 500. Dave?
Marty, I'm back in the garage area. Another guy who took a wild ride on Saturday in this Busch race was Mike Bliss. In fact, he admitted his car started that whole melee that caused the big one here. His team right now waits to work on his car. When NASCAR threw the red flag on Saturday, it required them to stop working on this car. They'd already welded the rear frame back together. Now they're waiting to put a new rear end housing on it, also set the toe to make sure that it drives straight. He's not the only car back here. Paul Menard's 33 and Rick Markle's 68 are also back here making repairs. When they get back out, they know they'll not be running with the lead pack, but they're going to try to keep up the minimum speed to get a finishing position or pick up positions and get valuable points. Alan?
And the red flag just withdrawn. You see the crew giving the nod by NASCAR officials that they are allowed to go back to work on their cars. You'll see how quickly they can get those machines out onto the speedway. Cars are rolling off onto the track here at Daytona. They'll make a couple of laps before they cut them loose under the green flag. May see some pit stops in that time. Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, Benny Parsons. Glad to be back with you for a Daytona Encore for Speed Weeks 2004. Benny, yesterday was the Daytona 500. Some drivers who finished in the sport's biggest race yesterday, like Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip and others, coming back today. Can they get up for this race?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like playing a day game after the World Series, but I think once they run a few laps and they get that adrenaline going up trying to win the race, I think will be okay.
And yesterday, this race, of course, the resumption of the action that happened here on Saturday. That race went green a little after 12:30 Eastern time. And let's catch you up on what happened from the green flag to the point the rain stopped it. This was the big moment. Wally, you have a starring role.
This was a big moment for me. Oh, boy, I watched this and go. Oh.
That's Wally's car, the 88, and
bam!
Ouch. Yeah, I had no place to go. The 20 got sideways in front of me, and boom, I hit him. Then right here, I tried hitting the gas to try to miss the wall, and I got the car turned a little bit, but the steering wouldn't work. I hit the wall anyway.
And once you get on that grass, you had no hopes of getting it turned.
No, it was just for the ride.
That was an 8-car wreck that started around 11th spot at lap number 12. And the race never restarted from there. They ran almost 20 laps behind the pace car while the rain peppered the racetrack. Finally, they stopped the field, and then the rain really started pouring down. And a little after 4:40 Eastern time, the race was called for the night, postponed until now. So pit road is going to be open as the field comes by behind the pace car. And we'll see if any of the leaders make stops to get a final tune-up or a top off of fuel before they cut them loose again. Be interesting on a couple of fronts mechanically. Track conditions will have changed since they raced Saturday. The heavy rain, then the Daytona 500 yesterday. Now the sun popping in and out of clouds here today. Be interesting to see how that might affect the handling.
It's very cool today, though. I think that'll help the cars initially.
I think you're right. I think also there's probably some guys come in. I wouldn't be surprised to see some people put some tape on the front of these cars. A lot of guys complain about the cars being tight. Put a little tape on the grill. That's going to help the downforce in the front, make the front stick a little bit better.
It looks like most all of the cars are going to come down pit road. They can pit now and make this race on one more stop because they have 22-gallon fuel cells. Dave?
Well, Jason Leffler liked his car. He had just come in and put on fresh rubber before the last stop. So this was all about topping off the fuel. Marty?
Kevin Harvick among those cars that will come down pit road. They're going to take fuel only here, Dave. The theory being they know they can make it on one stop. They're not sure everybody else can, so they want to be in everybody else's window along with them. Matt?
A gas only for Kyle Busch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember on Saturday at his stop, he did a gas only, saving tires, and he's got a brand new set now, so he does have 4 sticker tires on now. No adjustments for Dale Jr.
So the 8 took tires, but a lot of the other cars that pitted there just took fuel only, so that's going to put Junior back in traffic for the restart.
They had changed their tires, as we talked about earlier, on Saturday, so they not need the new tires. Fuel only, and Junior now goes back in the middle of the pack.
So it'll be just a few more minutes before the resumption of racing here. Bill Weber's working with us today on our NASCAR Busch Series broadcast. Bill, where are you?
Alan, I'm over here at Daytona, USA. Had to sneak in and get a look at the race-winning car from the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt's car from yesterday. What a great victory for him. You know, you win the Daytona 500, you get the trophy, you get the money, you get the prestige, the memories. The one thing you don't get is your car back. After the victory lane celebration and, of course, the mandatory post-race inspection, this car is taken by some very special agents, brought over here to Daytona, USA, snuck it in the middle of the night and put it on display right here for everybody to see. It's in exactly the same condition it was when Junior drove it into victory lane. In fact, it even smells a little bit like that Budweiser celebration. It sits here for a year. When Junior comes back to defend his title next year in 2005, his car will be presented to him just before the race. But until then, it sits here on display in Daytona, USA. You can see the teams have signed it. It's still dirty. It's even got the confetti on it from that victory lane celebration. It's look touch. Well, you can come to Daytona, USA and see it, but don't touch, Alan.
It's only 11 o'clock in the morning, and Weber's in trouble with the security guards already. 1 to go. Race resumes in a lap. Matt?
A lot of slow-moving people down in the A pit. Tony Eury Sr., tell me about last night. How late did everybody stay out?
I think it was probably about 3:45 when I heard the rumble when they came back, but you know, they deserve it. They did a good job yesterday and were awesome, but I just told Dale Jr. on the radio that wasn't too good a pit stop, but the guys that went to bed was the one that was messing up. The guys that went out did good, so maybe we need to take them out on Saturday night or something. But they'll get better here. We probably won't have to make one more stop in this race, and Dale Jr. likes to get back where he can race a little bit anyway, so we'll see how it goes.
Now, you were a part of that 5-race streak with the Big E. It'd be neat to get this streak going here.
Yeah, you know, that was a long time ago, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, when we first started that streak, we were real dominant, and as it went, it got tighter and tighter and tighter. You know, in that last race, we almost didn't get that last one. We just lucked up and won that last one. So I expect probably the same thing's going to happen in this deal right here too.
Matt Yoakum referring to a string of wins in this Saturday 300 during speed weeks that Dale Earnhardt enjoyed with Tony Eury Sr. leading his team. Earnhardt Jr. going for his 3rd straight win in this race here today. Derek Cope is the leader. He did not pit, along with Greg Biffle, David Green, Gus Wassam, Damon Lusk, Matt Kenseth. Those drivers all choosing not to pit here under this caution. They get out at the front of the field. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to restart back in 16th. Remember, he took tires on his pit stop. So that sets the stage. Pace car will be heading off, and we will resume the Hershey's Kisses 300 a whole lot later than when it started, but nonetheless, we should see some great racing here. Glad you're with us on TNT as the green flag waves once again.
Oh, Biffle's laying back, trying to get a run. this restart. Biffle in the second position.
Oh, a bunch of guys jumped down there, low side right away.
That's Gus Watson, the blue car up on the outside. About to be overtaken, it looks like.
For the lead, Greg Biffle to the outside of Derek Cope with David Green pushing him in the draft. New leader, Greg Biffle in the 60 car.
Looked like Derek Cope needed to hang with those guys. Whoa. Traffic jam behind him, too.
Behind him, yeah.
3 wide off 4.
17 car with a big bandage on the right front fender is Matt Kenseth. Had some damage in those opening 12 laps that we raced on Saturday, but you see the crew patched it up.
Junior restarted in 16th. 1 lap, he was up to 8th.
Let's see if he pulls out a line here. He's trying to, but they've got that inside lane crowded up against the yellow line.
Yeah.
Here's Matt Kenseth.
And they're going somewhere, too. That
Man,
line was going.
Ron Hornaday in the 2, going with Kenseth in that outside lane. Michael Waltrip in the 99, down in the inside group.
Mikey trying to get a backup car. He crashed here on Friday in the last practice session. Had to go to backup.
Bump draft there. Hornaday on Kenseth.
And we're not exaggerating. They actually do hit each other. Just like he hit Greg Biffle in the 60 cars. He pulled up in front of him.
On board the leader, Greg Biffle.
Teammates working together. Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth, first and second.
Both these cars leading the race out of Jack Roush stable.
Here comes Hornaday.
Wow.
Paul Wolf in the 6 car.
Wow,
First time at Daytona, jumps in behind Hornaday and goes for second.
What a move he made. How in the world? Bill, what about Hornaday?
Man, he's got a super fast car. I just talked to his crew chief, Butch Hilton, very happy with the car. Hornaday said he could pull up. He wasn't sure how well he'd be able to pass. Now he knows, Dave.
Well, and speaking of passing, Bill, the 60 car of Greg Biffle was pretty sure he would get past. He's known all weekend he has a pretty good car pushing people and in the draft, but he doesn't think he can lead that well. In fact, he radioed in just before they went green, or after he took the lead from Derek Cope. Guys, I think I can lead a few laps here, but don't think we have a very fast car. Marty?
Dave, if the rain helped anyone, it's Matt Kenseth. They've pitted 17 times to match their number on the side of the car on pit road Saturday under all those caution laps he ran while it was raining. They got the right front fender fixed. I asked Matt before the race, are you worried about that damage, or do you think it's fixed well enough? He said, nah, I just looked at it. It's great. The car will be excellent. So far, so good.
And around the outside, here comes Greg Biffle in the 60 back to the lead. That's Kevin Harvick behind him in the push in the 21 car. 00 is Jason Leffler in the outside lane. And Hornaday now racing for third in the 2 on the inside line. Remember that these NASCAR Busch Series cars are running the package the now Nextel Cup Series cars ran a few years ago. They've got the strip across the roof of the car, the roof blade we call it, plus that gurney lip. The extra lip on the back of the rear spoiler. They punch a big hole in the air, and it creates a huge draft. We'll see a lot of shuffling up front all day.
It does. I mean, you get a run on a guy, all of a sudden you're like, you think somebody's wrecking in front of you.
Oh, trouble!
Wow, that was a wreck that just didn't happen.
Paul Wolf just simply turned down too quickly and ran across the nose of the 37 car and almost got turned in front of this entire group.
Well, he did it going into 3 a few laps ago, and David Green gave him a break. I don't think it's going to happen again.
That was the big wreck that just didn't happen. Biffle leads, Harvick second, Leffler third, Hornaday and Kenseth side by side for fourth.
Now we're getting to the point where these tires will start wearing off, and these guys will start backing off the throttle, then start backing off. The cars will move around.
Here's for the lead. Let's check out that close call a minute ago.
Yeah, you see Wolf here in the middle. Just came down across 37-4. I'll tell you what, that was close.
You don't get those left sides on that flat apron here often and not crash.
Because it does. It jacks the car sideways, and boy, if you get one save when you get on the apron, but you don't get two.
Yeah. So Harvick now the leader. 0-0 of Jason Leffler is second. They're single file front four. 6-car, Paul Wolf. Let's check on him, Matt.
You might say he's a little rusty, not from having to wait 48 hours, but the fact that the team fought braking problems during practice. He never had an opportunity to go out during the big drafting practice, the final practice session. He was just going to try to play it nice and easy. A very close call, Marty.
Matt, remember Kevin Harvick pitted when we went back to the caution flag here today and restarted 20th when we went back to green. Already he's up in the top 5, taking the lead for a moment as he battles there on the high line. I asked Kevin, are you going to hang back? Would it be easy to do that, or are you going to the front? Oh, and we have a crash off
turn 4. Paul Wolf finally spun off turn 4, and around he goes. It's going to collect about 10 cars.
You could just see when he was in the center of that pack, he was having a hard time keeping that thing in the middle lane.
43 is Josh Richardson. Mike Wallace just crashed onto pit road, scattering somebody's pit crew.
22 got, well, he got in that grass, and that grass is still wet. You cannot slow down in this grass.
Martin Truex, Paul Wolf, we called his number earlier.
Oh, man.
That's Mike Wallace, who crashed into the pit wall after coming out of the wet grass. 77 car, also in it, Donnie Neuenberger. There's his machine.
9 cars.
9 cars in all involved in the crash. Tim Fita was driving away. 62 of Larry Hollenbeck's driving away.
Well, you could just see that coming, Benny.
You could.
Watch that 6-car in the center. He could. It just didn't seem like he could stay in the middle. He was going down. He was starting up.
Oh boy, hit Kyle Busch.
And Busch somehow keeps control.
I don't know how Michael Waltrip got through there either.
And Junior was under the 6 car, and Wolf tried to come down. Junior was there. He had to go back up. He got the car going back and forth, and just finally could not save it off turn 4.
Watch Michael Waltrip in the 99. I don't know how he gets through this thing. Right there. Watch this. Whoa!
Right in front of Fedua, Josh Richardson.
And now I see Mike Wallace into the grass. He'll end up across the pit lane and into the wall, protecting the pit crews from the racing cars.
I don't know what the heck, why he went up the track like that so much. It just broke loose on him.
Daytona rookie lesson.
You know, and he's part of a program called the Hungry Drivers Program. And at the end of the year, hopefully one of these 4 drivers are going to use this year would get a free ride. He did not do himself any good today, did he?
Coming at you.
Yeah, Busch did a good job saving that car after he got hit.
So the 6 car going to be rolled back behind the wall for damage repairs. And now check this out.
And this is pretty scary here.
Mike Wallace in the 4 car gets turned into the grass, fights it. Watch how he ends up hitting the wall, separating the pit crews from the race cars. If you are ever at a racetrack, rule number 1 is never turn your back on the cars. Never turn your back to the direction the cars come from. That's why pit crews always have to be paying attention. Another big wreck. Now up to 10 cars are tally under caution at Daytona. A NASCAR Monday matinee on this President's Day from Daytona Beach, Florida. The NASCAR Busch Series Hershey's Kisses 300 under caution after a multi-car pileup off turn 4.
Watch the 6. Paul Wolf goes up, gets in the side of the 5 of Kyle Busch, and comes down in front of Timmy Fedua, and it's on. No place for all these cars to go. Mike Wallace, the red 4 car, comes down through the grass. Ends up hitting the inside wall.
You don't realize how fast you're going, Benny, until you're going backwards or sideways.
Or you get on that grass and you say, man. just no traction whatsoever in that wet grass.
And the list of those involved in the crash. We put Michael Waltrip in there. He got nicked on the side by the Paul Wolf car when he came back across the track. And let's hear from the man who was at the focal point of the beginning of that crash with Marty.
He was in the middle lane there, Alan, and the car looked pretty out of control there in the middle. Paul, what happened?
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly without looking at the replay. Everything's happening so fast out there, and and the middle's definitely not the place to be. And I hate to say really what happened. I mean, I guess just the air moving the car around, and I don't know if I pinched up on a guy on the outside and just ran out of room. I really hate it for anybody that was involved in it, and the guys on this team just worked so hard, and it's a really good car. Just really frustrated with the way it ended.
Tough break for this promising rookie, Alan.
So 10 cars involved anyway in this accident. And if you missed any of Daytona 500 coverage yesterday, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s big win, encore presentation, TNT, late night tonight, 2 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. The Hershey's Kisses 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT Sports, live from Daytona Beach, Florida on this Monday, wrapping up the second caution flag after an 11-car crash off turn 4. Tonight, Chris Noth in the world premiere of Bad Apple, 9 o'clock on TNT. It's a TNT original that takes mob movies to a whole new place. Bad Apple, 9 tonight on TNT.
That could be starring me or you, either one, couldn't it, Wally?
Yeah.
Bad Apple.
All right, Marty.
Well, Alan Kirchie, Sherry Baxter kind of said, I'm going to leave it up to you, Michael. It's your decision whether or not you think the damage is bad enough to come down pit road. Michael said, well, I think it's fine. They got a little right side damage, but he said, as long as the right front's not damaged, I'm not going to worry about it, Dave.
Marty, the 60 car of Greg Biffle came in. His car was just a little bit tight. They made a chassis adjustment, but more importantly, crew chief Brad Parrott told me that they wanted to get in sync with the cars that pitted just after the red. His teammate in the 17, the 2, the 21, the 55, and of course, yesterday's Daytona 500 winner, the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Alan?
Biffle one of few that did pit under this caution. Remember, in the NASCAR Busch Series, they are limited to the number of sets of tires they can change under the yellow flag. You can't use them up too quickly.
The guy's laying back there. I think you couldn't do that.
He can. They say if you're within, you have to be within a couple of car lengths. If you lay back trying to get a run, you'll be penalized. But those guys who laid back did not particularly get a very good run. But it may come to pass down the backstretch.
Kevin Harvick is the leader. Jason Leffler is second. Ron Hornaday is third. Robbie Gordon took the restart fourth. Kenny Wallace is fifth. Now they're mixing it up for sixth. It's David Green, the Lone Ranger, in that green car down to the inside.
Kenseth, Earnhardt, they're trying to work the high side. Earnhardt popping the back of Matt Kenseth's car in 17. A little bump draft. Now they move down the bottom.
And they mix it up for third place. Ron Hornaday getting cut out of the herd. Robbie Gordon in that 55 car moves to the number 3 spot. And for the lead, make that for second. Robbie Gordon on Jason Leffler.
Here comes Kenseth in 17 car with a big run. Robbie moves over to block a little bit.
Junior is still following this group. He is being very, very cautious today. Patient. He's trying to work his way back to the front.
As wild as this race has been between what happened Saturday and what's already happened today, that's probably a good idea.
Matt, does he have a problem or just being patient?
Under that caution, Dale Jr. was talking to his crew. I tried to stay loyal to Martin Truex Jr. and to Michael Waltrip, but they didn't appear to have something that could really work with me, so I just had to let him go. Now he's got the 5 of Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch's plan on Saturday before the rains hit, he just wanted to hook up with the 8 and learn. Try to pick up maybe something that might help him watching Dale Jr. That's exactly what he's doing right now.
Dale Jr. racing for third with Robbie Gordon. Beginning to see a lot of experience work its way toward the front of this field, huh? For the most part, Harvick and Kenseth and Earnhardt Jr. and Gordon, Jason Leffler with a lot of laps here at Daytona. The one wild card in that is that 5. Kyle Busch, 18 years old, Kurt's younger brother. He has an ARCA race here at Daytona under his belt. He won it. This is his first NASCAR Busch Series race, and certainly his first race with the cars in this rules configuration. Matt?
every lap, Alan, is a big learning experience for Kyle Busch. Earlier in the race, he went 3 wide. He brushed the wall. He had to pull up alongside Dale Earnhardt Jr. to take a look at that right front fender under the caution. They told him it was fine. They told him, just look, settle in now. We have a ways to go.
Michael Waltrip kind of backing up, huh, BP?
Maybe he does have some damage from that accident. Maybe he should have gone to pit road and had it looked at.
Yep, and smoking on the right rear.
And that's where he was touched. The sheet metal was touched by Paul Wolf as he spun on turn 4.
So we'll keep an eye on Markey for you and let you know what ends up becoming of that, whether he comes to pit road or tries to limp it out through another caution.
And the reason Michael Waltrip is running so high right now, in case that tire blows, he doesn't have so far to go to hit that wall, Marty.
Yeah, Jerry Bax with the crew chief radio to him said we have a right rear smoking. Michael has said nothing. All he's done, like you said, BP, move higher on the racetrack, so if it does blow, the impact won't be so hard.
For the lead.
Junior on the outside.
With a bit on the outside of Kevin Harvick.
By himself. Not for long. Yeah. But you know all these guys are going to jump behind that 8 car. They know how fast he is.
Robbie Gordon glued right to the back of Harvick's car, pushing him down the back stretch. Look at that.
Richard Childress Racing teammates on the Nextel Cup side of things. This 55, though, that's Robbie Gordon's own race team.
With help from Richard Childress.
Right.
He's doing the engines.
Yeah. Robbie planning on running a majority of the NASCAR Busch Series races in 2004. So Harvick holds on to the lead for now. Junior retreats to 3rd. Kyle Busch now up to draft with him. And we'll see if they mount another charge. Well, Robbie Gordon to block. Here goes Kyle Busch low.
Well, Robbie's done that a couple of times today, but it's cost some spots every time he's done that.
One advantage that Junior has in having such a fast race car. When they do that to him, he can just back up and let him do it and be patient and go on the inside of it.
Kyle's going to try and jump down in line behind Junior. I think that's where Kyle wants to be. We heard that reported from pit road a minute ago. He wants to run with Dale Jr. That's, for a young guy, that's pretty smart strategy.
Not a bad plan.
52 of 120 laps complete. Working lap 53. Kevin Harvick leads the Hershey's Kisses 300. Daytona, back to racing side by side for the lead. Dale Earnhardt Jr. outside in the 8, and Kevin Harvick down low in the 21.
I think the low groove, the bottom of the racetrack, is the best groove, but Junior was not able to get alongside Harvick. He said, I'll go to the outside. Kenny Wallace, the 23, jumped along with him, and also Kyle Busch, but they have not made a lot of progress.
Kendrick in 17, Greg Biffle in 16, working with Harvick in that inside lane. And that's Johnny Sauter in the 27, the blue and white car that's come into the picture in this lead pack.
That's out of Matt Kenseth's car, the right side of his car, as he tries to go by Junior, and looks like he can.
Is Matt getting a push from Biffle?
Or what?
Look at that.
Kenny Wallace saying, okay, Junior, I couldn't push you through. I better get back with the lane that's moving.
Yes.
A couple of quick updates. Mike Wallace checked and released from the infield medical center after his crash for that inside pit lane. Mike Bliss and Paul Menard, we told you before the start, began working to repair their cars when the red flag was rescinded. They both returned to the racetrack. How about Kenny Wallace, Dave?
Well, Alan, you know when you know you're not the car to beat here, sometimes you tell guys, I can help you if you'll push me. I mean, that does work. You can be pulled as well as pushed. So Kenny knows that his car is not that great at leading, but he can get a push from guys like Earnhardt Jr. and the 99 of Michael Waltrip. And he's told them that, and he believes he can run in this front pack. Question is, can he lead at the end? Matt?
Dave, these bodies are so temperamental, even though they all fit the templates, teams are a little creative here and there in different parts of the body. Now the 5-car, Kyle Busch, his car loves to suck up behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet. When he was following Robbie Gordon's car, his car developed a really bad, tight condition. That's why he was trying to maneuver his way to get back to Dale Jr.
Matt, is he having trouble? Is the 5-car having trouble getting into the corner? Has he said what the car's doing or where he's having the problem?
He says the car is a little bit not to his liking on entries, not that bad off, but he was horrible behind the 55. It really plowed.
Yeah, it looks like he is having trouble getting into the corner. It looks good from the center on, but getting in, he's having a hard time. Getting a push right now.
3 wide.
And Junior just having trouble fighting his way through this traffic. I guess everyone's afraid if the 8 car gets in front, he'll never be seen again.
That's a legitimate fear.
Yeah. It is. Squeezed up in front of Robbie. Now, Robbie stays behind the 8 car. Those guys, I think, will get... Oh, that's in front of the 8 car. Yeah, okay. Robbie's got a fast car.
We are halfway through this race. 150 miles of the 300. So it is an official race now. Never got to that point on Saturday before the rain intervened. By the way, I see your name scrolling through here on the ticker on the top.
Just lost a spot.
We appreciate you coming back.
I'm a little bit disappointed in Mr. Jarrett for not hanging in there and finishing the job. Coming up here, and he's got all my whole areas messed up over here. What's up with that?
We're appreciative he chose to fill in for you on Saturday while you were out there pounding the wall.
But you thought you would have a great day. You had a really good car on Saturday.
I was having fun while it lasted. It was a good car. Had my teammate and car owner pushing me up the up through the pack, which was a big help. Joe was working that rear bumper.
We'll get Dale Jarrett back up with us in one of these other races later in the season when you're going to drive again. He did a great job for us. So we've reached the midway point, and Kevin Harvick continues to lead the Hershey's Kisses 300. Live from Daytona, you're watching NASCAR on TNT. Past halfway of the Hershey's Kisses 300. Kevin Harvick continues to lead. They've been mixing it up a little bit from about 4th on back, and it got kind of wild off turn 4 a lap ago.
And I think you've got, look at this off turn 4. Watch the 55 car. Gets hit from behind, I guess, by Johnny Sauter and almost turned around. I think it looks to me like it's gotten so wild that Junior's just backed out of this group. It says, guys, go ahead and play, and later on I'll try to get to the front. Or does he have a problem with the car? I'm not sure, but
I think you're right on the first one.
Matt?
VP Junior said on the radio, these guys are driving too crazy. Too many idiots out here right now is what Junior said. So I'm just going to drop back and just ride. NASCAR did warn the 5-car Kyle Busch. His team said NASCAR says stop weaving. Just try to pick a lane and stay there. Bill?
Behind the 8 is the 2 of Ron Hornaday, and Hornaday is just too loose to get in traffic. Behind him is David Green. Green's afraid of losing the draft, so he told his spotter to tell Hornaday's spotter, let's go. When he got the word that Hornaday's just too loose, he said, well, he better get going anyway, because we are going to lose these guys.
David Green and Ron Hornaday. Hornaday in 11th, Green in 12th. And you see the gap up to the end of that pack there. They're in danger of losing touch with.
Yeah, the last time by, they were 1/3 of a second slower than the lead group of Kevin Harvick.
Jason Leffler, 0-0, kind of cut out of the herd there, and that sweep on the high side off turn 2. Here comes Johnny Sauter in 27, and David Stremme in 32 by Leffler.
Stremmy's done a nice job so far. Looks like he's keeping the car under control.
That's a kid with big talent. Isn't it, BP?
Sure is.
Came around last year, won the Ray-Vestas Rookie of the Year title despite running only 18 races. He's in a car that's basically funded by Chip Ganassi for the Todd Braun racing team. And in his first Daytona NASCAR Busch Series race, he's running 8th.
You see the 20 car, Mike Bliss, on the bottom of the racetrack, so he has his car back out there trying to pick up as many points as he possibly can. And he'll pass several cars if he can run another 10 laps or so.
He's showing back in 37th place right now, 32 laps down to the race leader. So Joe Gibbs racing, number 20. Coach here yesterday watching Tony Stewart did a good fight to try and win the Daytona 500. Marty, we've been talking about David Stremme.
He's doing a great job, Alan. He's also doing a good job trying to take care of his friends out there on the racetrack. He tried to help Ron Hornaday for the longest time, and as Bill just told you, he came on the radio and said, Hornaday's way too loose for me to help him. Tell him I'm sorry, but I'm getting ready to drop him out of the draft. Stremme has damage on the left side, on the right side, but the car's still doing great, just a little bit loose right now.
Stremme Stremme running in 8th place right now in that 32. Talk pit strategy here just for a second. These cars, unlike the Nextel Cup cars, run the regulation size fuel cell, the 22-gallon tank that the Nextel Cup cars use every place except Daytona and Talladega. So they can run in the neighborhood of 50 laps on a tank of fuel, maybe a little more. Leaders last pitted at lap 32. So we're closing in on when we should see another set of pit stops for these front runners. So let's take a break. We'll come back and be all lined up and ready to go for when they do hit pit road. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
I've been racing all my life. 10 years ago, I won my first NASCAR Busch Series championship. Some people say it's my only championship. I'll say it's my only championship so far.
The caution flag is just waved here at Daytona International Speedway. Some troubles for Stacy Compton in the 59 car. You see some smoke trailing from the machine.
If that's an oil smoke where he's brushed the wall and knocked the sheet metal in on the tire.
Third yellow of the Hershey's Kisses 300, and it comes out just before a set of green flag pit stops would have been needed by the front runners.
My best guess would be with all the cars could make it to the end from here. So whatever chassis adjustments you might need, it's time to be making it.
Kevin Harvick is the race leader. Matt Kenseth is second. Greg Biffle third, Robbie Gordon fourth, Jason Leffler fifth, followed by Kyle Busch, Johnny Sauter, David Stremme, Kenny Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Earnhardt Jr. dropping back toward the end of that lead draft, as we talked about earlier, because things were getting a little hairy and wild up in the back. Now they're going to come down pit road, put on fresh tires, bunch them up for the restart, and hit the reset button again. Could be kind of interesting.
I think it's going to be kind of interesting.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to be the third driver to sweep the Saturday, when this race should have run, and Sunday Speed Weeks events here at Daytona. It was done last in 1989 by Darrell Waltrip. Prior to that, Bobby Allison did it in 1988.
Well, you know everybody's going to get 4.
Makes sense, wouldn't it?
So that would be my guess. I don't think they would try to run 100 laps on left sides. Or not 100 laps, but probably about 75 or 80.
So everybody looking for a clean pit stop here to get their guy out first, Dave.
Biffle reported in, my car is aero loose and chassis tight. They will take air out of the left side tires. Also make a wedge adjustment, wrench going in the back window right there. Marty?
Main leader Kevin Harvick can go all the way from here on fuel. The car just a little bit tight, very slight half pound on the right front tire. Kevin's never finished on top 5 here, but never won, Bill.
Johnny Sauter is tight and frustrated. It's an air pressure adjustment for the chassis and a soothing talk for the driver. Matt.
The Bud guys wearing Oreo colors today, making a chassis adjustment for Dale Earnhardt Jr. His car was a tick on the tight side. They will try to free it up so it won't be as tight at the end of this run at the finish.
Earnhardt Jr. going to gain several spots on that exchange of pit stops. He went in 10th. Looks like he came off about 5th. Let's check the camera and the scoring line at pit exit and confirm the running order as they left. Here we go. The jack fell.
Robbie Gordon. All right. Harvick.
Yeah.
Biffle. Junior.
Then Matt Kenseth.
So Junior beats Kenseth.
Yeah.
So Junior will get 4th off the pit lane. Under caution to the Hershey's Kisses 300 for the 3rd time. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Why are there so many Hershey's Kisses in every bag? Because they go really fast. Hershey's Kisses, official sponsor of the Daytona International Speedway.
TNT's coverage of the Hershey's Kisses 300 is brought to you by Nextel, coast-to-coast walkie-talkies in under a second. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. By the new 4 for All Pizza. Everyone gets the toppings they want, and it's only at Pizza Hut. And by the new Mr. Clean Auto Dry Car Wash. Never dry your car again. wrapping up caution number 3 in the Hershey's Kisses 300 after some oil or fluid from Stacy Thompson's car brought out the yellow flag. They continue to work on repairing the 59 on the pit lane. Here's our Aaron's pit summary.
Harvick lost a spot. Kenseth lost 2, and Biffle stayed the same. Junior gained about 5 or 6 spots on his pit stop. He will be in 4th spot.
And Robbie Gordon moving up to the lead. So this will be interesting. So we go back racing with 43 laps to go. Everybody's good to the finish on fuel and tires. By the way, extensive repairs on Michael Waltrip's car, but he is on the lead lap. He's going to restart in 25th place.
How long will it take before 21 jumps out, BP?
About the backstretch. With a big push from Biffle and Kenseth.
That second group's kind of laying back there a little bit. Watch them to get up behind Earnhardt Jr. and make a big charge in a lap or so.
They're going to try it down the back now. Whether or not it's going to be successful or not, I don't know.
Here they come. Robbie Gordon leads. Kevin Harvick second. Greg Biffle third. Matt Kenseth fourth. And here comes the charge of that second group led by Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to the outside lane.
You know, Harvick just pushed the 55 car, and they about drove away from Biffle and Kenseth.
I would say they did drive away. Now, here's what I can't figure. All those guys in that second group behind Junior had to know he was going to the front, and when he went up to the outside lane, they didn't go with him. They all scattered back down to the inside line. Now they're all in a big pack.
And that outside line still is not being very successful today. This is on board to Greg Biffle.
Let's see. Now that outside line's starting to move a little bit. Jason Keller in 22, having called his number so far this race. Championship contender has moved up from 30th starting spot. Last lap by, he was in 8th place. New number, new colors for Jason Keller this year. Meantime, Michael Waltrip, we told you about the lengthy pit stops he made. Marty, how about an update?
It took 2 stops to fix the right rear fender on Michael Waltrip's car. The damage is fixed now. I'm not running on the right rear any longer. But check out the tire that came off the car. I don't think that tire would have lasted much longer. The wearing of down to the cords all the way around the tire. Problem for Michael now is, though, he has no drafting partners out there.
I think he was wise to back off when he did and just ease around there until the caution flag came out.
He's had enough excitement for one weekend, right?
And I think if these guys keep doing like this, there's going to be another caution flag.
I think you're right.
Because all they're doing right now is trying to find the best place to wreck.
Talking about Jason Keller, Matt.
And BP, that's exactly why Jason Keller was riding in the back. Earlier in the race, he'd made a pack with both Michael Waltrip and the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. just to hang in the back to try to stay out of the way. The car very good today. The only problem, it was actually running too cool. Dave?
Matt, the 00 of Jason Leffler has a problem. It is inexperience, and crew chief Woody Barker told me earlier in the week, the problem is that we're going to get no one to go with us. So I just checked in with him now that he's had these laps in this race. I said, Woody, I said, is anybody going to go with you now? And he said, nah. Marty?
Dave, earlier, Benny talked about Kevin Harvick trying to make his move as soon as he could. And I talked to Kevin before the race. He said, listen, I'm going to try to be up front and leading this thing as much as possible today. I was so frustrated yesterday by riding in that second pack. I want to lead today, Matt.
The problem for Robbie Gordon really isn't who is in his mirror. It's his race car. He was telling his team before that last pit stop, my car is pushing, and then also it's way too loose. I really want to make changes, but I'm afraid if I make a change, it'll make one or the other worse. So they're just going to leave it alone. He's just riding right now with a loose and tight race car, Dave.
Matt, we continue to see Greg Biffle in the 60 car run that bottom line. He radioed in, I can only run on the bottom. I'm going to have to live or die down there. And if they want to go around me on the outside, well, then I'll just have to live with that. Marty?
Dave, last time Matt Kenseth was a little bit tight on that last run. They made several small changes up on the track bar. Half pound out of the right front tire, 1 pound out of both left side tires. He said, I have to be able to use both lanes if we want to win this race. Bill?
Last caution, a big break for Bobby Hamilton Jr. He had lost the draft. Now he's right back in the middle of it. Car was just a tick free, but as crew chief Harold Holly says, we've got something for him last half of this race.
Ooh, Greg Biffle Biffle popping out of line, trying to get the fender on Robbie Gordon for the race lead. Gordon tried to shut the door. That was close.
That was extremely close, but poor Robbie is now in the middle, and we talk about high-low. Middle is definitely not where you want to be.
No, Robbie's going to have to get back off the throttle and get back in line somewhere because, you do not want to be in the middle. That's what he did. Dropping back, looking for a hole.
And Biffle was not able to maintain the lead. Kevin Harvick and Junior went by him on the outside, along with Jason Leffler.
18 cars in this lead draft. 37 to go when they hit the start-finish line.
I was talking to Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Michael and Jason Keller before the race about that. But I didn't listen, obviously, because I'm up here with you guys. Talking about dropping back and getting out of the front pack. But, I mean, the wreck can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at. I mean,
yeah, but now it's go time. I mean, now there's 37 laps to go. You have to go. You have to get up in the middle of it and see what happens. There's a lot of experience in this lead group, but there's a lot of inexperience as well. And with the cars under this rules package, all it takes is one driver to make a mistake.
Oh, yeah. All he's got to do is move up and touch somebody, and we've got another 12 cars involved in the crash.
There's no question this makes for extremely entertaining racing. The way the cars can draft, the way they pass, it's a lot of fun to watch. But for the drivers, it's very nerve-wracking because you are in that tight pack all day.
Yeah, and the driver's a lot busier with this package because not only you're trying to watch your mirror and protect your position, but you're all over the racetrack because the cars aren't handling as well as they used to because of the package that we have right now. So, yeah, it's pretty wild out there.
Oh, Biffle, here he goes. Junior for the lead. That's almost identical to the same spot he passed Tony Stewart yesterday for the lead in the Daytona 500.
That's Sauter down inside.
Johnny Sauter.
Trying to get down the inside lever and does it.
Great move there. And now dropping down 3 wide. Greg Biffle with a charge on Sauter. 3 deep at the start-finish line for third.
Oh, yikes. Now they got Sauter where he does not want to be.
Bill.
Alan, during that pit stop, I talked about the frustration of Johnny Sauter. He told his crew, I just can't get anybody to run with me, no matter what I do. It's very frustrating, he said. No friend.
You know what, Bill? That is so true because you have to have somebody that will stick with you. The few laps I ran, I had Joe Nemechek on my bumper. No matter where I went, he went with me, and we went to the front. But it's hard to get somebody that'll do that because they may work with you for a lap or two, and then they'll find a hole and just drop you. So it is very frustrating as a driver if you can't get somebody that will stay with you.
Never see Bobby Hamilton Jr. in that 25 car, the red car on the bottom.
Whoa, hang on.
Remy up there.
Trimmy almost, if he didn't get in the wall, he missed an awfully good chance.
Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, David Stremme.
Robbie picked up a spot there.
They were bouncing off each other, coming off that tri-oval turn. Tense racing.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, Matt Kenseth. Man. Hamilton Jr. flirting with the yellow out-of-bounds line. He got out of the gas, though, and got back in behind Kenseth.
4 wide.
Hang on, boys.
Like I said, that was almost a good spot to wreck right there.
Leffler gets down in line in front of Kenny Wallace. Back to 2 wide. Bobby Hamilton Jr. to run underneath Johnny Sauter for 5th place. But Ron Hornaday goes with his Richard Childress Racing teammate, Sauter, to the outside. Here's Harvick, bid for the lead. Nobody going with him. Harvick outside, Dale Earnhardt Jr. inside.
And Biffle and Kenseth's going to try to go with Junior.
Dave Burns.
Guys, Biffle radioed in. I'll go apologize to Harvick, but I just can't draft up there in the high line.
Okay. I'm sure Harvick will be happy to hear that.
Yeah. That's not going to matter much.
Yeah. Matt Kenseth, big run up to Biffle's back bumper. See if they can make a charge up on Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's out by a couple of car lengths. control tower down the pit road now. Johnny Sauter warned for blocking a minute ago. Race director David Hoots just talking about Greg Biffle, telling him to pick a lane and stay in it. And Robbie Gordon with a charge to the outside. Now Kevin Harvick behind him.
Those two cars are very, very fast.
They get hooked up together and they just go.
Harvick back in front.
So new leader Robbie Gordon drops down in front of Dale Jr. Now splits the difference between the inside and outside lanes. Matt.
Many times the spotters can actually see a lot more than what the drivers actually think they're seeing. Robbie Gordon 3 laps ago, he wanted to run the middle because he's surrounded by a lot of inexperience. His spotter said, no, stay on the outside. We'll take our time. That's exactly what happened. He manipulated that outside lane and got all the way to the point.
Wasn't he leading going by the start-finish line? Where did Junior come from? He just blew right by him.
Robbie Gordon went up to that high lane, and Junior led the inside charge.
I think Robbie, what he's trying to do is pull Harvick along so they can both get down to the bottom. But Harvick just can't quite clear Biffle's car to get down there. Robbie's trying to stay with Harvick. Uh-oh.
Don't do that, and now Harvick is up to Gordon's outside.
With help from Johnny Sauter.
This is tense.
Yeah, it is tense. And it's tense inside those cars right now. Like I said, these cars are moving all over the place right now. The air's doing weird things. The tires don't have traction. And you got everybody making some crazy moves. So
they're averaging a little better than 182 miles an hour around the racetrack now in this tight bunch. 3 wide, a little farther back, up front, double wide. Earnhardt Jr. poking out in front. There's the 3 deep. Hamilton Jr. 25, Kenseth 17, Stremme 32.
How Matt got in that hole is, I guess Stremme just eased off the throttle and let him in.
That was a gift.
He got in that hole due to courtesy, yeah.
Oh!
Ooh, contact, Hamilton Jr. and Greg Biffle. And they sort it out. That's about the 4th wreck that just hasn't crashed in the last 10 laps.
There's 29 to go. This isn't the last lap.
Boy, oh boy.
It looks like if the 21 and 55, Kevin Harvick in 21, Robbie Gordon 55, can somehow get together.
I think they need to get on the bottom, DP. I think the 21 needs to get either in front or behind the 55 on the bottom. But they just can't do it. Too many cars. Because they would like nothing more to be able to pull away from this pack.
All right, one more commercial break before the challenge. Oh, wait, trouble. Robbie Gordon gets bumped. And another wreck that just didn't happen.
What a save by Robbie Gordon.
Now, Biffle is in the middle. He was running about 4th. He's going to be running about 15th when he comes back around the next time. Oh, man.
And that was a save.
Yeah, glove save and a beauty for Robbie Gordon. Coming off that turn at the start-finish line. Watch the 55 car.
Goes down. Oh, man, he just got turned down.
Was that Biffle behind him?
Yes.
That they made contact? Save of the day so far for Robbie Gordon. Got one more commercial break. If we stay under green between now and the checkered flag, we'll take it now, then take you to the finish at Daytona. The NBA on TNT, Thursday, 7 Eastern. The Kings take on the Timberwolves and the 76ers and Sonics. Coverage begins with TNT NBA tip-off presented by Gatorade. TNT NBA Thursday. Let the truth be told.
Well, we got him single file for a while there, VP.
Yeah, but back in the back, there's still Tyson and trying to figure out who's what.
24 laps to go. Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. Kevin Harvick second. Johnny Sauter third. Matt Kenseth fourth. David Stremme fifth. Kyle Busch up to sixth in the 5-car, Matt.
One reason for Kyle Busch's aggressive move to find that clean air, the water temperature has climbed to 270. He's turned on a fan. That hasn't helped. They're just crossing their fingers, hoping it'll hold the distance.
19 cars in this lead draft.
The problem is when you do that is when you're following somebody, you're going to follow that car. And then if you have 7 or 8 guys following somebody that's weaving in and out, the whole line weaves in and out.
Here we go, battle for the second position.
Johnny Sauter on the move.
Has some help with Kenseth, Stremme.
A lot of help.
Man, they just keep running into each other. Back second, third, through fifth.
Well, there isn't a straight rear bumper on any of these cars. They're all caved in.
Yeah, I think at this point, the real story is we've seen all this shuffling around going on behind the 8 car. And we've seen some guys try to take the lead.
What's all that fluid? Sorry, Alan, but there's a lot of fluid coming off of somebody's car right now.
Might be the 5 car
was overheating.
Yeah.
We could just hear Matt report that on pit road.
Well,
he's got to run out of water soon. Exactly, because that's a tremendous amount of water hitting our camera lens.
How about Greg Biffle, Dave?
Just shouting over his radio, the 5 is oiling me down, the 5 is oiling me down. Of course, we believe that it's water based on Matt's report, but Greg, of course, any fluid coming back is just making him mad.
Greg Biffle, 7th last time by the start-finish line.
This is not a good line here. Dave?
BP, and he goes up to the middle there. Remember he said he'd only run the bottom? Well, unless someone sprayed his windshield to death.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing, Dave. He is covering that windshield. And he's trying to get around, but not having much luck at it right now. Yeah, we can clean the camera for everybody at home, but he can't do that with the windshield.
So I was starting to say before when we saw that fluid coming out was that we've seen these guys try Junior several times, but nobody's been able to get in front of him and stay in front of him in this last little while. So some of these guys are going to have to get organized here, because right now they're racing for second.
No, you're right. And I think the two fastest cars when they're together are Harvick and Robbie Gordon. Those two guys got to get together. They got to make good pit stops, come out together, and work together.
But right now, Robbie Gordon is in 10th, and Kevin Harvick is in 4th.
Both David Stremme and Kyle Busch loose off that corner. The 5-car Busch tapping the wall, as you saw from the onboard view. Never lifted his foot off the gas, and he stays in 7th place.
Uh-oh, we got some
smoke. It's going to blow up. He's running out of water.
No, that's what
the fender.
Fender, yeah.
Matty?
Kyle Busch says the temperature now up to 290. The air not helping. He says, you know, it feels like there's fluid on the racetrack. Everybody's slipping and sliding.
I wonder where that came from.
I wonder.
Yeah, he's going to give it up.
Tough braking, kid. You did a great job.
Watch this as the 5-car touches the wall off turn 4.
That may have been because of the fluid.
Yeah. That's a pretty good hit.
Yeah.
So Kyle Busch's bid for a good finish in his Daytona NASCAR Busch Series debut will come up short by 19 laps. That's a lap car to the inside the leaders for overtaking. A couple of them, Mike Bliss in the 20 and Rick Markle in the 68. Harvick, Leffler, Stremme, Johnny Sauter. Now the lineup behind Dale Jr. as Kyle Busch comes to pit road, Matt.
And you can just see the window is fogging up on the front windshield. The whole cockpit is just filled with smoke. They were talking about, after they changed the tires, putting some water into it. Yep, they're going to pull the hood pins. They're going to put some water into it. A great run by Kyle Busch, spoiled by overheating.
And the reason they won't just give it up is this is a team that's planning on contending for the championship, so if they can get him out and get a finish, they'll try to.
All right, BP, they're going to try to make a run on him now.
Kevin Harvick, he's on the high side, and we know Jason Leffler in the 00 loves it up there. But do they have enough steam hooked up together to beat Junior? The 3 wide behind Junior, they might now.
Johnny Sauter goes low, putting David Stremme in the middle. See, that just takes all of Harvick's drafting help away.
I'm surprised Sauter didn't jump up there and help Harvick.
Marty?
Alan, if you'll remember out pre-race show on Saturday. Kevin Harvick said the place you want to be late in the race is not in the lead. It's too easy to pass with this package. Where you want to be is second or third. If you'll follow Kevin's progress, he's dropped back to like 8th or so a couple of times, worked his way back up to second, and found which groove works best for him.
And Kyle Busch has shut the car off. He is climbing from the race car. They were putting water in it, and they could see the water was leaking from the back. Kyle, I know, very disappointing finish for you.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, these guys worked their hearts out. We had a great car. The low shotback Chevrolet was awesome today. I mean, we're running up front with all the rest of the guys and getting dumped by all the masters and getting treated like a rookie. So this proves to show that these guys don't give up, and neither do I.
And you know why he was getting dumped like he was a rookie?
Because he's a rookie.
Exactly. You got it in one, Wally.
17.
You just have to expect that when you come to these places. You have to earn the respect from these drivers. You have to earn the right for them to draft with you. And I mean, you can have all the talent in the world. That's just something that's going to take some time.
16 laps to go. Johnny Sauter now second, Bill.
And showing tremendous patience. And Wally, maybe he is earning some of that respect. Went with Junior because Newt Moore said that's the car you got to go with in this race. The only thing is they want to get by him. But remember, he had no friends before, but he's going to have a few friends here before it's over with.
He's going to need a few friends.
Now, right now, Robbie Gordon and Kevin Harvick only have Greg Biffle's car between them. If Harvick can somehow get to the outside and those two cars get hooked up, they might be able to do something. I agree with you. Those two cars look fast.
If you missed any of the Daytona 500 late night tonight here on TNT, encore presentation of the 46th running of the Great American Race. 26 lead changes. Late race pass for the win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting by Tony Stewart as two of NASCAR's biggest stars fought it out for the victory and the sport's biggest trophy.
All right, BP, now we got them lined up.
Yep.
Now, if Harvick and Robbie would just work together, they got a shot.
I bet the under. I don't think they will. Well, just don't.
Past history shows.
Yeah, well, not because of that. I just think that it's going to be very hard for them to work their way up through these other guys without these other guys' own plans interfering with them just working together. You got Johnny Sauter, you got Matt Kenseth, you got David Stremme.
You would think Johnny would work with those guys. I mean, they are teammates on the Cup side.
Here we go. Harvick to the outside with Robbie Gordon.
I think what works to Dale Jr.'s biggest advantage here is that they've separated themselves, those front six cars, from the rest of that group. It's fewer he has to deal with.
And if I was Bobby Jr., I'd be making a move right now because you know Robbie and Harvick will probably go with you if you start showing any forward movement because they want to get to the front of this deal. I guess that's David Stremme.
Yeah, it was Stremme there. Talked about this earlier. Drivers who've swept the NASCAR Busch Series and Nextel Cup Series races at Daytona.
There goes that. Matt looking for a spot.
Sauter to the outside, cut out of the herd.
Boy, they used up Sauter, didn't they? Made a move like they're going on the outside. He went up to go with Kenseth, and Kenseth dove back to the bottom with Junior.
Now you got Harvick up on top, and you got Robbie Gordon. Okay, now Robbie gets in line.
Look at this. They all line up in that outside lane. They know they've got to get rid of Earnhardt Jr. to race it out from among themselves for the win.
That's exactly. Oh, and Harvick goes up on the outside of Robbie.
See?
But that could work in Robbie Gordon's favor because now he's going to try to pull up outside behind Earnhardt. That's Earnhardt in the blue and white, number 8. Robbie Gordon behind him.
Whoa, David Stremme just pushing Johnny Sauter. Stremme in the red car, the 32, a Daytona rookie. Marty.
David Stremme may be a rookie behind the wheel, but in the spotter stand, he's got a lot of experience. Lauren Ranier, who's one of the best spotters in this business, coaching him, telling him, hey, you've got a great car. Let's be patient. It's still not time to go.
David's doing a really good job. I followed him a little bit when we started this race, and He's very smooth, and he's a guy you can trust out there. Now, the only problem is, BP, he's got that yellow sticker on the bumper, so some of these guys may just want to get around him.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, BP.
Robbie Gordon was not able to pull up on the back bumper of Earnhardt. Johnny Sauter has gotten between him.
You see, so far, every time somebody mounts a charge, the pack scatters, and they don't end up finishing the charge on the leader. And so Earnhardt Jr. has been out in front of this race since lap since about lap 90.
And Matt Kenseth, who was running second or third just a few laps ago, has fallen back to 6th or 7th.
Harvick back to the high side.
Trying to get 4th away from Stremme.
Jason up there still. Jason Leffler right behind him.
And that little bit of side-by-side racing among the leaders allowed the second pack to close in again. If some of those guys in that second pack would get in line and just make a run at it, we've seen so far today, that's just not, they're not inclined to do that.
Robbie jump up now, get in front of the 21 car. Figured he was going to do that.
And then back down. Whoa, look out, Robbie Gordon. Did he and Stremme make contact?
Must have for him to dive down like that.
Look at the back bumper on the 55 car. Just caved in. And again, while all this is going on side by side, the front two out there single file.
These guys, you're right, they've got to come up with a plan and stick with it here.
9 laps to go.
And Junior, they have slowed down. The last lap was just a little over 180 miles per hour.
Who's that up the center? Harvick.
He goes by Stremme. Now Kenseth has slowly worked his way back up to about 5th. Let's see the yellow car.
David Green right behind him in 37. Now there are a whole pack of lap cars in front of this group that are being closed on very quickly. 6, 7 of them.
Oh my goodness.
And that's going to be a factor in these final few laps. There you see the group of lap cars leaving the picture, and here come the leaders.
I don't know if those guys are not really racing each other.
Yeah, some of them are actually tail end of the lead lap, Wally. Michael Waltrip's at the head of that second draft in 19th place.
Okay.
NASCAR race control radioing the team sponsors to get out of the way on the back straightaway and try and let the leaders by. Did I say sponsors? I meant spotters.
Yeah. But I knew what you meant.
Thank you. It's only excitement.
Hornaday, the 2 car, trying to work his way through, but you're right, this traffic is going to be a problem.
If anything, it's going to bunch him up even more.
7 laps to go. The leaders catch the traffic.
Junior might be able to get by the single file guys, but once we get back to 2 wide, David Green is 2 wide there. If we get 3 wide, it could be a problem.
Ooh, boy. David Green had to squeeze in line behind Jason Leffler. And the other thing this is doing, having to take a few laps to get around this pack of cars, it's all the fewer laps some of these guys have to make a run at Earnhardt Jr. and try and take the win.
Yes, certainly working in Dale Jr.'s favor right now.
Stremme, that yellow car on the inside, trying to use some of these lap cars, and you ever see Harvick trying to make a move for 3rd spot.
Working between the Michael Waltrip car that's just gone a lap down and Robbie Gordon's 55.
Robbie's not giving him any room there.
Oh boy, contact there.
Robbie Gordon just decided to come down, and unfortunately Harvick was there.
Ooh, Jason Leffler way up against the wall.
On board with Kevin Harvick as he looks back at Strimmy. Greg Biffle.
Easy, boys.
You got to run out some room eventually. Man, oh, man.
Strimmy trying to clear the lap car of Derek Cope in the 49.
And Hornaday is trying to squeeze in behind Cope.
In the meantime, all of this drama back in the traffic. The front two have put some distance between the rest of this pack. Earnhardt Jr. and Johnny Sauter have gotten away, at least for the moment, Bill.
The advice to Johnny Sauter, just stay behind the 8, then it's yours on the last lap. Do what you have to do.
I don't think there's anything he can't be able to do unless he gets somebody up there to help push him by. And they're going to have to hurry.
There are 4 laps to go in the Hershey's Kisses 300 at Daytona International Speedway. The Monday matinee after this race postponed by rain from Saturday. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car is the race leader. He's been the dominant leader of this race. He's trying to back up his big victory in the Daytona 500 yesterday with a sweep of Speedweek's 2004's 2 biggest events.
All right, Robbie and Harvick can get a run. They got a lot of help behind them right now. They got to time it just right.
They're running 3rd and 4th. Kevin Harvick, Robbie Gordon. David Strimmy is in 5th.
18 cars on the lead lap, most all of them, 17 of them in this pack, along with a few lap cars. Can they gang up on Dale Earnhardt Jr. and take the lead and the checkered flag from his grasp? 3 laps to go.
There we go. There it is. Oh!
Johnny Sauter, the 2 car, the car in 2nd spot. Move down to block that move of Kevin Harvick.
Matt Kenseth up in the outside lane. Nobody goes with him. Yellow car. Now they give him some help. Earnhardt Jr. Little snake move down the backstretch to try and break the draft. Ooh, a bump there on Kenseth, and he regains control. Ron Hornaday in the 2 nipped him in the back bumper and turned him sideways for the 2nd. And that separated those front 4 from that 2nd group.
Robbie, when he makes his move, he's got to make it with enough momentum that he gets beside at least a bumper on Johnny Sauter and able for him to pull it off, he's got to get beside him.
2 laps to go.
Sauter's looking in that mirror every other second.
And a crash now and the race is over. They're past the point at which NASCAR would use the red flag in order to try and have a green flag finish.
On board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he looks back at Johnny Sauter. No movement.
I don't think they've got enough, Benny.
Earnhardt Jr., Johnny Sauter, Robbie Gordon, Kevin Harvick, the front 4. 2nd group led by Matt Kenseth. As they come to the white flag. Final lap of Speedweek's 2004 Daytona. Can anyone draft by the 8 car and pick up the win, or will it be Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the sweep? Richard Childress Racing Associated drivers lined up behind Earnhardt Jr. But no one's been able to pass him for the last 30 laps.
And they just can't get close enough. The 27 can't close up on the rear bumper to make a run. It's not that he doesn't want to, he just can't.
Final turn. Final chance, and it's not going to be enough. After a big day and a win in the Daytona 500 yesterday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the Hershey's Kisses 300. His 3rd consecutive NASCAR Busch Series win here at Daytona International Speedway. His 3rd win of Speedweek's 2004.
What did we say? His father won 5 of these in a row?
5 straight, yeah.
And he wants to. He said that he would like to tie that record. Well, hard to do.
Yes, it is. Very hard. But he's gotten a good start on it. Johnny Sauter was second, Robbie Gordon third, Kevin Harvick fourth, Matt Kenseth with a little congratulatory donut finished fifth, followed by David Stremme, Ron Hornaday, Jason Leffler, Jason Keller, and David Green got the final top 10 spots. And a big couple days for Tony Eury Sr., Marty.
Well, I hope you're not tired of winning, and who needs sleep anyway, right?
Well, we just hold fillers today. Bono and his guys, Chance 2 guys, they put this car together, they built this car, put it together, brought it down here. They worked on it for the whole week, and we just come down here to fill its pit stalls, all we did. So all the guys in the fab shop that built the 4 cars that they brought down here, and they all 4 ran good. They had a hard time picking out which ones they wanted to run, and they all did a good job. Richie Gilmore and that engine department just keep on ticking, and that's just how that DEI operation is working right now. We're proud of everybody there.
What a great weekend for DEI and Chance 2 Motorsports. Dale Jr. start-finish line again today. Looks very familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little different scene than yesterday, though.
You're the rev limiter. He's got laid against a rev limiter about.
I'd take care of that engine. That's a good one.
About 7,500 rev limiter. And now he's got the nose up against the bank. It won't go anyplace, so he's burning the rear tires off.
I think that was kind of the idea. A stand-in smoker. And he's probably going to come out of the car here and salute the fans. That's the half of a $1,500 set of Goodyears laying there. Sure that no matter how late Junior was out last night celebrating his 500 win, he's feeling no after effects now.
No, he sure isn't.
$102,000 winner's share of the $2 million purse for the Hershey's Kisses 300. One speed weeks that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will never forget. Kevin Harvick and Robbie Gordon sharing a moment or two about the race. Finished third and fourth. About that, what they were trying to do, trying to accomplish, and how it did or didn't work.
Looks like they were having some fun, though.
Yeah.
I can't believe he started. He's stuck. It's stuck. It will not roll in the mud. Okay.
Grass still pretty wet from the rain we had Saturday. There it goes. So while we wait for Earnhardt Jr. to get back around to victory lane, let's hear from some of the other top finishers. Bill?
And down here on pit road with Kevin Harvick, just had a few words with Robbie Gordon. How was your race?
It was fun. I was just telling Robbie and Johnny, it was, that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be side by side, beating and banging and having a good time. So that was a lot of fun, and we were all having fun. And you get such a run on people, it's hard to work with people unless you're single file. So it was a good time. Good day for the Hershey Kisses Chevrolet.
There was some beating and banging going on out there.
Yeah, there was, but all of us know that that's part of it, and sometimes you're on the leading stick of it, and sometimes you're on the end of the stick. So it's like I say, Johnny and Robbie and all the guys did a good job, and the Hershey Kisses Chevrolet was just a lot of fun to drive today. Just knocked the fender in there at the end, and I couldn't keep up with them, or might have been able to make a run, but good job for us.
Because even the three of you couldn't catch the 8th.
Imagine that.
Kevin Harvick with a fifth place finish, a fourth place finish today. Marty?
Robbie Gordon in third, and looks like you and your teammate were trying so hard there, your Cup teammate, to catch that 8 car, but imagine that, as Kevin said, you couldn't catch him.
Yeah, I guess we got together one time on the back straightaway, and it just, I guess it knocked the nose in on his car, and he couldn't hang with us after that point, but I tried backing up there, about 2 laps to go, and see if I can get a run on Johnny, and I had a good run on him, but the only way I can get by is if I turned him. Oh, well.
It was a good decision not to turn him. So, nice first ever Busch Series start for Robbie Gordon. Finishes third here at Daytona. Matt?
Here in the Hershey's Kisses victory lane, Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the third straight Busch Series win here at Daytona. In the February race. And the shower
harder here today than yesterday?
Well, it might look like it. I just kind of stayed up front, and when I got somebody on the outside of me, there was always somebody to help me. Johnny helped me a lot there at the end. I didn't know whether I was going to win it or not. I mean, it's this package everybody can pass so easily, so it's just any man's race, really.
Now, you told me at the beginning of the race that you didn't want to jinx yourself. Now, you've got 3 straight in this event, 2 more to tie your dad.
Yeah, 3's a lot. We're going to go for 5, and go for 6, 7, 8, whatever happens, man, happens. But we keep on racking up wins. That's 43 for Darn Hart's here at Daytona, so I'm real happy.
Certainly a great day, great weekend for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, sure was.
He had a strong car today. I mean, he really, and he put it where he needed it, right on the bottom, too.
So what do we talk about? He has won now 9 races here in Daytona, and his father won 34 total?
34.
Wow, 43 times. That's unbelievable.
It's a good start on it, though, huh?
I'm telling you.
Bill.
With Johnny Sauter. So, were you frustrated or satisfied when it was over? I heard you talking during the race.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just so proud of this Kleenex Winn-Dixie Pontiac guy and this whole team. I mean, they did an awesome job. I screwed up on Saturday, come from the back to third, and on pit road, hit my tire carrier, and put us back in the back, and they did a great job of fixing it. And I knew this thing was really strong after Saturday, and I hate it that Dale Jr. won again. I mean, I'm happy for him, but I hate it. And
you couldn't do anything with him, Johnny?
I couldn't. I really felt like Kevin Harvick had the best car today, but I kind of hung him out there, and you don't want to give up the bottom here, especially when you're behind the 8 car. And all in all, it's a good way to start off the season. Newtmore, all these guys did a great job. It just, it's good. I want to thank Chevrolet. Goodyear tires were awesome today, and looking forward to Rockingham.
Marty, go ahead.
Well, Alan, it was a lot harder, I think, out there for Matt Kenseth than it looked like. You just didn't seem like you could get anyone to draft with you. How was that, Matt?
I just couldn't. I don't mean I had people draft me. I just couldn't get myself in the right position. So when I tried to make a move on somebody, then the whole line would come on the other line. So if I was on the bottom, they go to the top. And I just could never get it to work right. So I needed to get my teammate Greg back up in there to help me a little bit. But it was a good day for our Bayer Aspirin car. These guys worked really hard on this car back in the paint shop and in Fab Shop to get this thing ready. They're really behind over there, and they did a lot of hard work to get it ready. So we had a good effort today.
Junior only had one drafting partner in Johnny Sauter, and there was a whole train of you guys catching them. Were you surprised that you couldn't get around them?
It's hard to pass the leader. When a 21 was in front before, it was hard to pass him. I followed him for a long time, and actually when Johnny made a move to go with the outside of Dale Jr. for the lead, I went with Dale Jr., but then everybody else stacked up on the outside again, and Jr. somehow has such a strong car, he can stay up there by himself, and I couldn't hang in there, and I fell back and had to work my way back up in there again.
Matt keeps his Busch Series Daytona streak alive. He's never finished worse than 6th here, Alan.
And we check the finishing order from today's Hershey's Kisses 300. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the Daytona double picks up the victory today after his 500 win yesterday. Johnny Sauter, 3rd consecutive top 10 finish at Daytona. Kevin Harvick, 4th top 5 in 4 races here.
And David Stremme, 6th place finish for a Rebecca's Rookie Challenge.
Last on the lead lap was Gus Wasson in 18th place. Michael Waltrip led that group of cars that were put a lap down by the leader in those final circuits around. Of course, Kyle Busch fell out of the race late with the engine troubles. Gets a 24th place result on his Daytona Busch Series debut.
And Mark Truex Jr. back in the 28th position. A team car to the 8th was involved in the crash, could not continue.
And now a lot of the drivers involved in the 2 big crashes in the race. The one today and then the one on Saturday. Joe Nemechek in the one Saturday, along with Wally, Casey Kane, Johnny Benson. So Speed Weeks 2004 is over at the Daytona International Speedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a double victory celebration. More to come from the World Center of Racing after this.
And the Victory Lane celebration at Daytona continues. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and company back there for a 2nd straight day. And now NASCAR heads to Rockingham for the 2nd stop of the season. Back on pit road with David Stremme. School in session today for you.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was all day. We talked to everybody, and they said, no, we're not going to gas. So we come on and gas her right away, and Robert Presley come in, hit our fender, made the car really tight. But, everybody did a great job on Trim Spot Dodge. Them Cup guys were getting a little wild up there, pushing me, trying to use me up, and I wasn't giving up at all. And I learned a lot. So when we go to Talladega, you know, maybe I earn some respect from some of them guys. But really good for our point situation. We'll head to Rockingham and try to gain some more.
You said they used you a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, they were hitting. I used Robbie up, too, though. I got into him.
Yeah, what happened there?
I mean, you get such hellacious runs, and I didn't want to give too much up because early on I was giving up and then got hung out. And I think everybody got hung out today. We were trying to work with each other. I was trying to work with Horn today, and he was too loose. And we got our car handling pretty good, but Matt kind of snookered me there at the end. He gave me such a great push in the corner. My tires were wore down so much that I had to roll out. But I learned a lot. I was very fortunate today to finish in one piece with all the big wrecks I was missing, and I was happy for Trim Spot Dodge.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dave?
Kenny Wallace and Jason Leffler here. We'll go with, gosh, I'm looking down my list here. We'll go with Leffler first only because he finished ahead of you, Kenny, but I know, Jason, I know it was a huge pile there at the end trying to get through this. How did you get through? Because it especially looked like no one was helping you today.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great car, and Kenny helped me quite a bit. I just got so loose I couldn't stay on the bottom, and even by myself the last 3 laps I was practically wrecking. I needed all the track in 1 and 2 to go from the bottom to the top, and it was fun. You know, we came home one piece in the Haas Automation Chevy. Monte Carlo was really fast. All the guys did a great job.
Now, Kenny, I know your car, you didn't make a lot of adjustments all day, but then I heard you report in that it went pretty loose at the end.
Yeah, I don't know why. You know, we ran up there in the top 5 all day long, and then we made that pit stop. We came out good, but then all of a sudden we started getting loose, and I started hunting the high side. Then the high side was running pretty good. We was making gains, but went for a real good finish there at the end, and should have just stayed high. Ended up getting 12th, so a little disappointed. But, you know, Stacker 2 Chevy, 12th, strong, and we'll get going on to Rockingham.
Now, is this the rules package for you here at Daytona? Did you like it?
I liked it. It was great. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. You know, we've been through this deal before. You know, the old rule package, everybody was single file, no action. Right now, we're on top of everybody, and that's what makes good TV.
Kenny Wallace brought it home in 12th in one piece, guys.
Dave, for the first time since 1993, David Green scores a top 10 at Daytona. But did your race change with 3 to go?
Yes, it did. We, started the race, our car got extremely loose, and probably because today was sunny and the other day was rainy looking. But I was so loose I couldn't hold on to it, and they unhooked the rear bar, put us in the back, and I tried to be cautiously aggressive getting back up through there, and boy, it played right in my hand. Got behind Matt Kinson. It's going to stick with him, and all heck broke loose. Everybody started going 3 and 4 wide, but then I got loose again, got into the wall off of 2, and at that point it was save what I could. But we're proud of our whole Bruco team. Over the winter they worked their tails off to put 2 cars in the top 10.
Did you almost feel like a rookie today?
Yes, I did, because the guys that come over that ran yesterday, man, they're like they're at NASCAR Speed Park today, and I hope one day I can get enough experience doing this that I can feel the same way.
David Green, 10th here at Daytona. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jason Keller's first reaction to me was, whew, I'm glad that thing's over with. But Wally, are you listening? He did what you should have done Saturday.
Now, we talked about it.
He laid in the back, and he wound up finishing 9th. So maybe Wally should have listened to you Saturday, huh?
I don't know. Sometimes you turn out to be doing the right thing. So Miller High Life guys really did a good job. Car was built in a really short amount of period of time, and man, it was wild. I like the fact that you can pass, and that's good. You can get racy, but cars got a lot of downforce on the rear of them, so they make them a handful to drive. But got to go up there and mix it up with them there at the end, and pretty proud of the Miller High Life guys.
For Jason, that's 4 top 10s in his last 6 Daytona races. Dave?
Bobby Hamilton Jr. finished 13th today. Bobby, we didn't see you run up front a lot. Was that the plan, or could you just not run with the front pack?
No, that was a plan. Me and Keller sit back there and waited for the big one, waited for the couple big ones, and survived it at the end. We went that last caution. We was running in the top 5, top 10 area, and just burnt the right front off of it. It had cord showing, and I could feel it, so I just backed off and let the Marines forward just get it finished. Come out of here and get a decent start for Rockingham, and go on from here.
Saved the car, brought it home, Alan.
So $100,000 for winning today, and $1.5 million for winning yesterday, $1.6 million in 24 hours for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and company. That's pretty good. We caught up with a 7th place finisher in today's Hershey's Kisses 300, Ron Hornaday.
Well, Ron, a top 10 for you. I know though that it wasn't easy out there today.
A lot of weapons out there, I'll tell you. You try to play it easy and try to work with somebody and try to save the car, and then they go 3-4 wide. But the AC Delco car was awesome. RCR motors, spinning everybody back to top. Had a lot of fun, but we just so loose getting in. I mean, once we checked up, we just couldn't get a run on them. And I don't know. I think we should just put bumpers on the side of these cars as much as we're beating and banging down the straightaway. So there was no much bump draft, and it was just side by side slamming. But fun racing. I mean, that's the Wickers. They got to show that they wanted to see, so it was pretty good.
And there's a new idea for the rules package, guys. Bumpers on the side from Hornaday.
Ron with a 7th place finish today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. bringing down the curtain on Daytona Speed Weeks with a victory on Monday. A memorable Speed Weeks is over. Don't forget the encore presentation of the Daytona 500 at 2 a.m. Eastern and Pacific tonight here on TNT. Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning the 500 and today's encore in the Hershey's Kisses 300. Our friends from Fox handled things for a while. NASCAR on TNT and NBC joins you again at Chicagoland Speed.